Chapter 1484. All the cultivators who were watching the battle from afar turned pale. Yin Zhongwang of the Manwei dynasty had really been killed. Many people were shocked when they saw Lin Tian enter the true immortal's withered corpse with his spirit. Controlling the corpse of a true immortal to kill the Zhongwang of the Manwei dynasty was simply too shocking. Lin Tian entered the true immortal's withered corpse with his spirit, glanced at the cultivators in the distance, and left immediately. His main purpose here was to obtain the Stellar Stone and kill Yin Zhongwang. Now that he had achieved his goal, there was no need for him to stay any longer. He was very fast. In just one step, he was already far away from this place, and then disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. The cultivators who were watching the battle from afar saw Lin Tian leave with the true immortal's withered corpse, and then looked at the battle zone where Lin Tian had fought with Yin Zhongwang and the others. They all shuddered again. Yin Zhongwang of the Manwei dynasty was killed, and among the dozens of other cultivators, 10 of them were the supreme elders of the top 10 immortal sects in this world, second only to the Manwei dynasty. The others were also from powerful sections. With so many of them killed here, these major forces will probably be furious. This is simply, not to mention the other sects, just the wrath of the Manwei dynasty alone is enough to shake this world. This is going to change the world, some of the cultivators murmured. After leaving the area of the Stellar Stone, Lin Tian was very fast. Using his spirit to control the true immortal's withered corpse, he crossed a great distance in the blink of an eye. Not long after, he drove the true immortal's withered corpse to a cave in a mountain. He's back. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu were guarding this place, keeping an eye on the situation outside the cave. The moment Lin Tian arrived with the true immortal's withered corpse, he was discovered by the two. Lin Tian nodded and stepped into the cave. His spirit stepped out of the true immortal's withered corpse and returned to his own body. He then put the true immortal's withered corpse away. How is it? Seeing that Lin Tian was unharmed, Wuxing Crocodile asked about the Star Stone. I got it. Lin Tian Dao. With a thought, he took out the jade bottle that was wrapped in his spirit and threw it to Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. Wuxing Crocodile took it and scanned it with his divine sense. He immediately saw the densely packed star stones inside the jade bottle and sensed the extremely rich origin energy of the stars. It seemed that several stars had been stored in this jade bottle. So many? It was shocked. It simply glanced at the star stones in the jade bottle. The amount of star stones in the bottle made its heart skip a beat. It estimated that with the total amount of star stones in the jade bottle, at least 90 Emperor Realm cultivators could step into the Eternal Realm in a very short time. This was simply a super amazing treasure. Even Little Taichu couldn't help but widen its eyes. It was shocked by the huge amount of star stones in the jade bottle. That star mine is actually so amazing. Wuxing Crocodile exclaimed again and again. After a while, it calmed down a little and asked Lin Tiandao, "By the way, what about that Yin Zhongwang? Did you kill him?" "Yes." Lin Tiandao nodded and said, "The star stones in this jade bottle were taken from him. It's about 90% of the total amount of star stones in that star mine." As he spoke, he briefly told Five Elements Crocodile and Little Grand Primordium about how he had killed the other cultivators who had surrounded and killed Yin Zhongwang due to the temptation he threw at them. "A group of clowns. It's time to kill them all," Wuxing Crocodile said. Lin Tiandao nodded and put away the jade bottle containing the star stones. He said, "Let's leave this spirit field first and find another remote and secret place to refine them in seclusion." "Okay. Let's go." Wuxing Crocodile nodded repeatedly, its eyes full of light. Now, they were in the immortal realm. If they refined these star stones, they would soon reach the eternal realm. And when they reached the eternal realm, they would be immortal and would no longer have to worry about the passage of time. This was undoubtedly something they yearned for. "Let's go." Lin Tiandao. Immediately, one man and two beasts left this place and soon left this spirit field. After that, they spent a full 3 days. They purposely found a very remote and desolate mountain. There was not even a single Class 1 monster beast in it. They found a relatively large cave and stepped into it. Lin Tiandao used his half-step eternal realm cultivation to arrange 81 sealing formations outside the cave. Then he sat down in the cave. With these 81 sealing formations outside the cave, even if a genuine immortal expert passed by, without carefully probing with his divine thought, he would not be able to sense him, whooshing crocodile, and little Taichu in the cave. He sat down in the cave and took out a large pile of star stones from the jade bottle. The cave was instantly filled with the rich origin energy of the starry sky. It was as if it had turned into a small part of the starry sky. The silver light kept flashing. Let's start. With this pile of star stones, it's enough for us to enter the eternal realm, he said. Whooshing crocodile and little Taichu nodded. They immediately ran the ancient sutra Heart Sutra and began to refine the star stones. Lin Tiandao sat cross-legged, took a deep breath, and ran the Sun Heart Sutra to refine the star stones here. Immediately, the rich starry sky, origin energy, rushed into his body like a vast ocean wave. After being refined by the Sun Heart Sutra, it poured into his divine sense sea, and then into his divine soul in the sea of consciousness. Suddenly, his divine soul trembled, and the soul power it emitted rose at a very amazing speed. In the immortal realm, under normal circumstances, the physical body was truly immortal and indestructible, unaffected by the erosion of time. At this level, what needed to be cultivated was the divine soul. By absorbing the starry sky origin energy, the divine soul would reach the true immortal and indestructible state, and then step into the eternal realm. Of course, at this level, cultivators didn't necessarily need to absorb the starry sky origin force in order to progress in their cultivation. With a huge amount of spirit chi and some heavenly materials and earthly treasures, a cultivator could continuously rush up the immortal realm and step into the eternal realm. In other words, on the path of cultivation, no matter which realm a cultivator was in, a large amount of natural energy and special natural treasures could make a cultivator's cultivation base soar to new heights in a short period of time. Buzz! He refined the star stones to cultivate, and the divine light outside his body became stronger and stronger. His essence, chi, and spirit also became more and more vigorous. His cultivation gradually moved from the half-step eternal realm to the eternal realm. On the myriad realms imperial star, at the center of this world, 100,000 immortal mountains were gathered together. Each of them was extremely shocking, and extremely rich spirit chi fluctuations were intertwined. It was as if the ancestral dragon vein of this world had passed through this place. In these 100,000 immortal mountains, there were magnificent palaces one after another, as if it was a small immortal realm. It was the place where the Manwei dynasty, the #1 force in the starry sky, was founded. What? A furious roar rang out from a scarlet gold palace at the center of the Wanwei dynasty, causing the entire sky to tremble. In the red gold palace, the emperor of the Manwei dynasty was sitting in the center of the palace. Majestic divine power was rolling around his body, and his eyes were full of anger. Just now, he had received a report that Yin Zhongwang had been killed outside. Moreover, the star stones he had obtained, which were enough for more than 90 Empyrean realm practitioners to enter the eternal realm at the same time, had all been taken away. The Manwei dynasty was the #1 force in the starry sky. It was the real overlord of this part of the starry sky, and it was the emperor of the endless star areas. But now, someone had dared to attack Yin Zhongwang, who was second only to him and several genuine immortal true ancestors in the Manwei dynasty. He had killed Yin Zhongwang and taken away all the star stones he had obtained. Those star stones were a super treasure for the Manwei dynasty. It was enough for the Manwei dynasty to have more than 90 eternal realm experts in a short time, and their strength would increase several times. But now, they were all gone. Who did it? Who did it? Find out. The man roared. In the super spirit field, Lin Tian had entered the genuine immortal corpse with his spirit and killed Yin Zhongwang. At that time, although there were many people watching the battle, they could not see Lin Tian's real body, so they did not know who killed Yin Zhongwang. Yin Zhongwang himself guessed it, but he was already dead and could not say it out loud. As for the green-robed old man and the gray-robed old man who had followed Yin Zhongwang, the green-robed old man had been killed when he was first ordered to kill Lin Tian, and the gray-robed old man had been slapped tens of thousands of feet away by Lin Tian's withered, true, immortal corpse outside the star mine. As a result, the Myriad Might dynasty did not even know who Yin Zhongwang had a grudge with in Spirit Realm, so it was very difficult for them to deduce who had killed Yin Zhongwang and taken away his starstone. Immediately, one expert after another stepped out and began to investigate who had killed Yin Zhongwang and who had taken away all the starstones that Yin Zhongwang had obtained. They were determined to find the person who had killed Yin Zhongwang and kill him. Most importantly, he had to retrieve all the stellar stones that had been taken away. That was because the value of those stellar stones was too great. At the same time, in this world, the 10 most powerful immortal sects under the Manwei dynasty and other major forces were also shocked and angry, because in their sects and clans, top experts were killed along with Yin Zhongwang. However, compared to the Wanwei dynasty, although these great powers were shocked and enraged, they did not make any big moves. This was because they had heard that the person who killed Yin Zhongwang and the experts of their respective sects not only had the corpse of a true immortal, but also a complete true immortal weapon. He was invincible against anyone below the true immortal realm. Even though they knew who had killed their experts, they could do nothing about it and could not do anything. Now, only a major force like the Manwei dynasty, which had a true immortal realm expert, could suppress that person. In a cave in a remote and desolate mountain, Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were quietly refining star stones to cultivate. The entire cave was filled with the star origin energy. Buzz! Lin Tian's body was surrounded by golden light, and the Heart Sutra of Sun was being circulated faster and faster. His essence, energy, and cultivation were all increasing rapidly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Chapter 1485. Dense clouds shrouded the sky, and thunderbolts suddenly intertwined. The aura of destruction was appalling. In just an instant, the sky around the desolate mountain turned pitch black, and the earth was enveloped by an oppressive force. All the living beings within a radius of several thousand feet trembled, and a sense of fear rose in their hearts at the first moment. Boom! The thunder roared and shook the sky, as if it was going to destroy the world. The whole desolate mountain shook because of it. In the cave of the desolate mountain, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu, who were refining star stones to cultivate, could not help but tremble violently. The aura of their bodies became chaotic because of it. On the other side, blazing golden light intertwined around Lin Tian's body, and there were strands of thunder and lightning arcs around his body. The faint pressure of the eternal realm was vast and mighty in this space, and the blood and qi were extremely strong. Immediately, the blazing golden light outside his body gradually dimmed, and the vigorous blood and qi were quickly absorbed. Then, the rolling thunder in the sky of the mountain dissipated in an instant. The aura of Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu slowly stabilized, and their essence, qi, spirit, and cultivation continued to rise. After a dozen breaths in the cave, Lin Tian opened his eyes, and there was a flash of thunder and lightning in his eyes. The heavenly tribulation this time seems to be more dangerous than before. He muttered to himself, raised his head in the cave, and looked at the sky. After refining star stones to cultivate, after a month, he finally reached the level of the eternal realm. Just now, he directly attracted the heavenly tribulation of the eternal realm. Then, at the last moment, he temporarily withdrew from the eternal realm, so that the heavenly tribulation that he attracted disappeared and hid. And just at the initial sign of the heavenly tribulation of the eternal realm, he also clearly felt how terrible the real heavenly tribulation of the eternal realm would be later. At that moment, all his internal organs were trembling. In this regard, he could imagine that it was because entering the eternal realm meant eternal life. It was a huge transformation on the path of cultivation. Therefore, the heavenly tribulation attracted by such a transformation was very threatening. He took a deep breath and quickly calmed down. It's not a big deal. I can make it through. Although he had mastered the 5 heavenly thunders skill, he should not have been able to survive the eternal realm heavenly tribulation. Fortunately, he had obtained a soul-rotting grass in the super spiritual territory a month ago. With this soul-rotting grass, he could refine at least 3 transcendence elixirs that could increase his battle strength tenfold. With this transcendence elixir and the 5 heavenly thunder skill, he would have no problem surviving the eternal realm heavenly tribulation. At this time, he did not do anything for the time being. He stood guard for whooshing crocodile and little Taichu, and occasionally glanced outside the cave. Buzz! Buzz! Outside the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu's bodies, different divine lights intertwined. Their essence, energy, spirit, and cultivation levels were all rapidly rising. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. 3 months later, there were only dozens of star stones left that Lin Tian had taken out and piled up in the cave. 2 hurricanes swayed out from the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu, and 2 powerful auras directly spread in the cave. Immediately, the next moment, the 2 opened their eyes at the same time. Their eyes were full of intertwining light, and the divine light outside their bodies was very strong. I've made it! The eternal realm! The whooshing crocodile was excited. After refining a lot of star stones, it directly stepped into the eternal realm from the middle stage of the immortal realm after 3 months. Now that it had stepped into the eternal realm, it did not have to care about the passage of time at all. Under normal circumstances, it had the same lifespan as heaven and earth, and was immortal and indestructible. At the same time, at this time, the demon aura outside its body was very amazing. The eternal realm's coercion was extremely strong. In terms of pure battle strength, it could definitely fight against a middle stage of the eternal realm. Little Taichu's body was surrounded by 6 divine lights. It was purer than before, and its divine aura was stronger. There was also a faint divine majestic aura, which was extremely extraordinary. Well, you're all very good. Lin Tian looked at them and smiled. At this time, he could feel the strength of whooshing crocodile and little Taichu. Although they had just stepped into the eternal realm, their battle strength was far superior to other cultivators of the same level. Little Taichu responded in a childish voice. Whooshing crocodile laughed, then looked at Lin Tian and asked, "Boy, what about you?" It looked at Lin Tian and said, "Well, it seems that you haven't really entered the eternal realm, but you should be able to step into it at any time, right? Did you step into the eternal realm before, and then withdraw?" When it was refining the star stone to cultivate, it felt a terrible sense of oppression from the sky. It was not the first time it had encountered that kind of oppression. It could clearly feel the aura of the heavenly tribulation. Now that it could make it tremble, it was definitely the heavenly tribulation of the eternal realm triggered by Lin Tian. After that, the aura of the heavenly tribulation disappeared in the blink of an eye. It could easily guess that at that time, Lin Tian temporarily withdrew from this level after entering the eternal realm, causing the eternal tribulation to dissipate. After all, it had encountered such a situation before when it was cultivating with Lin Tianyi, so it was no stranger to it. Lin Tianyi smiled. "Yes, that's it. So, how is it? This eternal tribulation, is it difficult?" Whooshing crocodile continued to ask with a serious expression, because it knew that Lin Tian's heavenly tribulation was terrible every time, especially this heavenly tribulation, which was triggered by Lin Tian stepping into the eternal realm and achieving the real, immortal, and indestructible body. It knew how dangerous it was without thinking. "Don't worry, it's not a big deal." Lin Tian Dao. Hearing Lin Tian's words, Whooshing crocodile was quite surprised. It did not expect Lin Tian to say, "It's not a big deal." "You're quite confident." It looked at Lin Tian Dao. "Of course." Lin Tian smiled, and then said to Whooshing crocodile and little Taichu, "You two consolidate the cultivation of the eternal realm first. I'll protect you. Then I'll refine elixirs. After that, I'll find a place to cross the eternal tribulation." Refine elixirs? Whooshing crocodile was a little surprised, but the next moment, it thought of something, using that soul-rotting grass to refine the transcendence elixir. As it spoke, its eyes lit up, no wonder you're so confident about this eternal tribulation. It naturally knew that Lin Tian obtained a soul-rotting grass in the super-spiritual territory. It also knew that Lin Tian could use this soul-rotting grass to refine the Transcendence Elixir that could increase the combat power by 10 times in a short time. With the Transcendence Elixir that could increase the combat power by 10 times and the Thunder technique that Lin Tian mastered, it had reason to believe that Lin Tian could cross the eternal tribulation easily. At that moment, it was no longer worried and said, "Then Grandpa Crocodile and the little guy will consolidate the cultivation of the eternal realm first. Then you refine the elixirs and cross the eternal tribulation." After that, it called Little Taichu and began to consolidate the cultivation of the eternal realm. Lin Tian guarded Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu on the side. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days passed in a flash. On this day, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu opened their eyes one after another. Their essence, qi, and spirit were stronger than 7 days ago. At the same time, they were more stable. Their cultivation of the eternal realm was truly stabilized. Their foundation was as solid as a primordial immortal stone. "Okay, I'll start refining the elixir." Lin Tian Dao. He had refined the Transcendence Elixir once when he was at the Great Virtue Realm. Now, with his cultivation that could enter the eternal realm at any time, his alchemy skills had long surpassed the level of a rank 9 alchemist recorded in the history books. Refining the Transcendence Elixir at this time was naturally much easier than before. He took out the soul-rotting grass and some other materials needed to refine the Transcendence Elixir. He also took out the black and blue medicinal cauldron that he obtained from Master Apothecary's retreat. Then he activated the pure yang flame and immediately began to refine this baodan. He was very skilled. In the blink of an eye, a full 6 hours passed. 6 hours later, a strong fragrance came from this mountain cave. He opened the black and blue medicinal cauldron and took out 4 thumb-sized purple baodan. There were strands of divine runes intertwined on it. It was very magical. I refined one more than I expected. Moreover, the effect should be stronger than the Transcendence Elixir refined before. Each Transcendence Elixir refined at this time is probably enough to maintain 10 times the combat power for nearly 2 hours. A glint flashed across Lin Tian's eyes. He had once obtained a soul-decaying grass from the extreme Yin Temple. At that time, he had never failed in refining the Transcendence Divine Pill. His success rate was 100%, but he had only managed to refine 3 Transcendence Divine Pills. Now, perhaps because the soul-decaying grass he had found was of better quality than the one he had found, and because his cultivation level was higher than before, he had managed to refine 4 Transcendence Divine Pills with a 100% success rate. Furthermore, the effects were much better than the Transcendence Divine Pills he had refined before. 2 hours? The Transcendence Elixirs you refined before could only last for slightly more than an hour. Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. "Yes," Lin Tiandao said, "the reason should be that the soul-rotting grass I found this time is better than the one I found before. Moreover, my cultivation is stronger now, and my control of the elixir fire transformed from pure yang flame is more precise. Therefore, the Transcendence Elixir refined this time is better than the one I refined before." He briefly explained to Wuxing Crocodile, then took out 2 Transcendence Elixirs and distributed them to Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. He kept 2 for himself. Wuxing Crocodile took the Transcendence Elixir from Lin Tian, and his eyes lit up. 10 times the combat power. With Lord Crocodile's current cultivation, coupled with this Transcendence Elixir, I could probably fight with a genuine immortal after increasing my combat power by 10 times. Lin Tian glanced at it. Don't think too much. The higher the cultivation, the greater the gap in combat power between the major realms. With your current eternal early-stage cultivation, even if your combat power is increased by 20 times, you can't be a match for a genuine immortal cultivator. Chapter 1486. After successfully refining the Transcendence Divine Pill that could increase one's battle prowess by 10 times, Lin Tian was ready to leave this place and find a deserted and empty place to transcend the eternal realm heavenly tribulation. This was because his eternal realm, heavenly tribulation, must cover a very large area. If there were any living creatures nearby, they might be harmed. He did not want that to happen. Immediately, he left this place and led Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu out of the barren mountain and into the distance. Soon, they crossed a great distance and tore through the void to move forward. After more than 14 hours, they came to a vast desert in this world. Looking around, this desert covered an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. It was completely filled with yellow sand and gravel, and there was not a single living creature. "Wait for me at the outermost part of the desert," Lin Tian said to Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu. "Okay." Whooshing Crocodile nodded, and Little Taichu also responded in a childish voice. Although Lin Tian's eternal realm heavenly tribulation was terrifying, they believed that there would be no problem with the Transcendence Divine Pill that could increase one's battle prowess by 10 times and the unparalleled thunder technique. Lin Tian walked on the desert ground and soon came to the center of the desert. He glanced at Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu at the outermost part of the desert, and then looked up at the vast sky. He took a deep breath, and then with a thought, he no longer suppressed his cultivation and directly stepped into the eternal realm. Immediately, with a boom, an earth-shaking thunder resounded in the sky, as if the sky was about to explode. In just an instant, the rolling clouds gathered, forming a huge lightning vortex. Bolts of blood-red lightning flashed within, as thick as mountains. The world instantly turned pitch black, and the entire myriad domain imperial star could not help but shake, causing countless creatures in this world to feel a sense of fear. Boom! 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 Thunderbolts continued to reverberate in the sky. The tribulation lightning in the sky continued to gather, becoming stronger and stronger, more and more terrifying. The oppressive and destructive aura seemed to want to obliterate everything. Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu were outside the Gobi Desert. Looking at the rolling thunder in the sky, they couldn't help but shiver. This is simply... Whooshing Crocodile shuddered. As far as the eye could see, in the dark thunderclouds above the Gobi Desert, blood-red lightning bolts flashed as if they were about to destroy the world. Each bolt contained enough power to easily crush an ordinary eternal realm expert, causing the scales on its body to stand up involuntarily. Boom! Thunder rumbled once more. The destructive and oppressive aura became more and more terrifying. In the sky, it was as if an immortal king was about to descend. Lin Tian stood in the center of the Gobi Desert, looking up at the lightning in the sky. His internal organs couldn't help but turn cold. The heavenly punishment was simply too terrifying. However, even though he could sense how terrifying the heavenly punishment was, his expression did not change. He was not afraid at all. With a slight shift of his mind, a purple transcendence elixir appeared in his right hand. He swallowed it directly. In an instant, his body trembled slightly, and his blood chi surged on the spot. The ground of the Gobi Desert under his feet cracked. His physique, speed, divine consciousness, divine soul, divine power, and other aspects of his strength increased tenfold. Then, in the next moment, silver lightning intertwined outside his body. He activated the 5 Thunders sky-shaking technique. Together with the Transcendence Elixir, his combat strength increased tenfold, causing the world to tremble again. With a rumbling sound, the void around him twisted. A tyrannical aura surged, as if an ancient volcano had erupted. It was appalling. Tenfold combat strength, coupled with that thunder technique. It's really outside the Gobi Desert. Whooshing Crocodile was shocked. At this time, Lin Tian's aura was too powerful. Boom! Thunder rumbled in the sky, and the pitch-black thundercloud vortex spun. There seemed to be a pair of cold eyes inside, staring at Lin Tian, who was at the center of the Gobi Desert, ready to devour Lin Tian. Terrifying hurricanes formed on their own, sweeping across the Gobi Desert. Lin Tian stood at the center of the Gobi Desert. The black hair in front of his forehead swayed wildly in the wind, and his clothes fluttered. He looked up at the sky, and silver lightning intertwined around his body. Silver lightning intertwined in his eyes, as if he was a peerless god of thunder. "Come." Looking at the rolling heavenly punishment in the sky, he said lightly. Boom! Thunder rumbled in the sky, causing a shocking explosion. The space within a few hundred zhang of the area was completely shattered. Then, in the next moment, the first round of the heavenly punishment appeared. It pressed down mightily in the form of a huge lightning beam. Lin Tian looked at the heavenly punishment that pressed down and soared into the sky. Silver lightning intertwined around his body, and he blasted the 5 thunder sky-shaking technique head-on. With a simple thunder fist, he shattered the first round of the heavenly punishment. Again, Lin Tian on Dao. He shook his divine power, and the 5 thunder sky-shaking technique circulated even more fiercely. The aura he exuded was even more terrifying. Then, he summoned the immortal Emperor Pagoda from his body. He wanted this divine origin weapon to undergo the tribulation with him and be baptized by the lightning. Boom! The thunder roared, and dense blood-red lightning fell like rain, enveloping Lin Tian in it. This blood-red lightning wasn't the main lightning tribulation of the second round. It was just the ordinary tribulation lightning brought about by this heavenly tribulation, but it was still very frightening. Each lightning bolt was enough to easily shatter an ordinary early-stage eternal expert. Soon after, another huge roar sounded, and the second round of the heavenly punishment appeared. It was a vast and boundless thunderbolt, many times more terrifying than the first round of the heavenly punishment. The moment it appeared, it pressed down mercilessly. Lin Tian's eyes were intertwined with a bright light, and the black hair on his forehead danced. The immortal Emperor Pagoda floated above his head, and the silver lightning brought by the 5 thunder sky shaking technique intertwined on the surface of his body. He faced the second round of the heavenly punishment head-on without any scruples. In the blink of an eye, his body and the immortal Emperor Pagoda were completely submerged in the boundless thunderbolt. Then, in the next moment, he shattered everything with the 5 thunder sky shaking technique and 10 times his battle strength. He forcibly absorbed the tribulation lightning to temper his origin divine pagoda. For a time, the immortal Emperor Pagoda was shattered and turned into a sky full of primordial qi. Lin Tian forcibly injected the tribulation lightning into it, tempering the pagoda over and over again. Then, the primordial qi that filled the sky gathered again and condensed into the pagoda. At this time, the divine light outside the immortal Emperor Pagoda, which was only about 3 inches tall, became stronger and stronger. As expected of the primordial heavenly crystal, the ultimate sacred object for forging precious weapons. No matter how broken it is, it can be reformed. As long as the master is alive, the pagoda will not be destroyed. It's really amazing. Outside the Gobi Desert, whooshing crocodile clicked his tongue. Boom! Thunder rumbled. In the sky above the Gobi Desert, the thunderclouds became more turbulent, and an even more terrifying destructive force spread out. In the next moment, the third round of tribulation lightning appeared and pressed down. Lin Tian was in the center of the Gobi Desert. The immortal Emperor Pagoda was intertwined with purple primordial qi. He circulated the 5 thunder sky shaking technique, and the silver lightning outside his body became even more intense. He faced the tribulation head-on again. Boom! The heavens trembled. Following the third round of the main lightning punishment, numerous blood-red lightning bolts descended together. Every single one of them was extremely terrifying, and their destructive power was terrifying. Lin Tian was fearless. With 10 times his battle strength and the 5 thunder sky shaking technique, he moved unhindered under the tribulation lightning. As he transcended the tribulation, he used the light of tribulation lightning to temper his origin divine pagoda. Boom! Thunder rumbled, and the light of tribulation lightning fell one after another. After that, in the sky above the Gobi Desert, ear-piercing thunder rumbled continuously. Bolts of lightning fell unceasingly. The destructive and oppressive aura became more and more terrifying as time passed. It pressed down on Lin Tian again and again, In the blink of an eye, more than an hour passed. When the last ear-piercing sound of thunder passed, the heavenly tribulation in the sky dissipated. The pitch-black sky returned to its original appearance, and the space became bright again. As far as the eye could see, at this time, the vast desert was torn apart and shattered beyond recognition. The surface of the ground had sunk at least several hundred feet. Everywhere was charred black soil, and in the air there were strands of lightning arcs intertwining. The destructive aura was still there, but it was gradually weakening. In the center of the Gobi Desert, Lin Tian was covered in blood. His body was broken beyond recognition, and in many places, even his bones could be seen. The immortal Emperor Pagoda was broken into countless pieces and fell at his feet. He gasped for breath as blood gushed out of his mouth. Even with the help of the Transcendence Elixir and the 5 heaven-shaking thunder skill, he still suffered an unimaginable injury under the Eternal Realm's heavenly punishment. It was because the heavenly tribulation attracted by achieving the Tao fruit of eternity was too terrifying. But in the end, he managed to transcend it. 1. In the sky, 7-colored divine light intertwined, and a 7-colored auspicious cloud appeared, directly above Lin Tian's head. It directly projected a large amount of 7-colored divine light, enveloping Lin Tian in it. In an instant, Lin Tian's broken body began to heal. His flesh and bones cracked. Soon, his injuries were healed, and his essence, qi, and spirit rose at an extremely fast speed. He looked around, and with a thought, the broken fragments of the immortal Emperor Pagoda flew up and quickly gathered around him to be washed by the 7-colored divine light. This 7-colored divine light was a gift after transcending the heavenly tribulation, and it had a very amazing power. 1. His whole body was bathed in the 7-colored divine light, and his essence, qi, and spirit quickly rose to the peak. The broken immortal Emperor Pagoda also reformed. It was also at this time that the 7-colored auspicious cloud in the sky slowly dissipated, and the 7-colored divine light no longer projected down. Lin Tian stood in the center of the Gobi Desert, his whole body intertwined with a faint light, and a faint eternal pressure lingered around his body. Early stage, eternal realm. He muttered to himself, and a glimmer of light flashed across his eyes. At this time, after transcending the heavenly tribulation of the eternal realm, he really stood at the level of the eternal realm. He could clearly feel that his strength in all aspects had increased by leaps and bounds, and he was much stronger than before. And most importantly, at this moment, he had a feeling that he was one with heaven and earth. That feeling was immortal and indestructible. Chapter 1487. When one's cultivation reached the eternal realm, one would be immortal and indestructible under normal circumstances. They would live as long as heaven and earth and would no longer be affected by the passage of time. Although Lin Tian's state of mind was extraordinary, he could not help but feel a little excited. After all, he had now stepped into the forest of eternal life. He had gone from an ordinary mortal who only had 100 years of life to the Tao fruit of eternal life that he had today. He couldn't help but sigh a little. Finally, you've reached the eternal realm. Whooshing Crocodile's voice sounded. He and little Taichu flashed over and looked Lin Tian up and down. They could clearly feel the strength of Lin Tian at this moment. Then, his eyes fell on the immortal Emperor Pagoda in front of Lin Tian. His eyes lit up and he clicked his tongue. And this pagoda, I'm afraid it's also very powerful. The immortal Emperor Pagoda was Lin Tian's origin divine weapon. At this time, after Lin Tianyi had passed the eternal realm heavenly tribulation, the primordial qi outside the pagoda had become denser after being refined and purified by the thunder punishment light of the heavenly tribulation. There were also strands of lightning arcs intertwined outside the pagoda. There were strands of thunderbolt marks on the pagoda's body. Its momentum was very astonishing. At this time, although the Sect Pagoda was only a low-grade eternal weapon, it was certain that the Sect Pagoda was the king of all eternal weapons. Even if it collided with a genuine immortal weapon, it would not necessarily lose. Not bad. Lin Tian said with a smile. The immortal Emperor Pagoda was made of the ultimate holy material for forging weapons, the primordial heavenly crystal. It had been repeatedly refined and polished by the power of faith and the Thunder Punishment Force. Its power was naturally very strong, and its attack and defense were unparalleled. With that, he moved his mind slightly and took the immortal Emperor Pagoda into his body. Then, he called Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu to leave. This place was deserted for tens of millions of miles. Naturally, there was no need to stay here after passing the heavenly tribulation. Soon, they were far away from this place. The barren land was no longer in sight. Magnificent mountains appeared in front of them. Let's find a place to bury the genuine immortal's corpse. Lin Tiandao. Now he, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu had all reached the eternal realm. With their own battle strength, they could dominate the realm of the eternal realm. They no longer needed to rely on the power of the withered corpse of a genuine immortal. Because of this, he intended to find a place to properly bury the true immortal's corpse. After all, this corpse had helped him greatly during this period of time, so he couldn't just throw it away casually just because he didn't need it anymore. Because it would be too immoral of him to leave the corpse exposed in the wilderness. Wuxing Crocodile nodded. Then one man and two beasts climbed over many mountains. Not long after, they found a place that was full of spiritual aura but deserted. Lin Tian personally dug a simple grave. Then, he took out the withered corpse of the true immortal and placed it in the grave. Then he covered the grave and erected a simple tombstone in front of the grave. Because he didn't know the name of the withered corpse of the true immortal, he could only write Tomb of the Nameless True Immortal on the tombstone. Then he bowed slightly and called out to Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. Then they left and walked into the distance. In the blink of an eye, they had left behind dozens of mountains. A road appeared in front of them. Many cultivators were coming and going on it. Many of them were discussing something with each other. It's been a long time since someone angered the Wanwei dynasty like this. He actually killed Yin Zhongwang of the Wanwei dynasty and took away the pile of starstones that Yin Zhongwang obtained. Now, the Manwei dynasty is looking for that person all over the world. As long as you can provide his whereabouts, you'll be rewarded. Huh? He's already on the wanted list? I remember hearing that he killed Yin Zhongwang with a genuine immortal's corpse controlled by his divine soul. I don't think anyone has seen his real body. Under such circumstances, how can he be wanted? How can others provide clues about his whereabouts? We don't even know what he looks like. We've already found out. The person who spoke first said, it's said that in the super spiritual territory, someone saw one of Yin Zhongwang's servants come into contact with a young man. At that time, he seemed to be inviting the young man, but the young man didn't agree. At that time, the servant's face was a little cold, and he looked very unhappy. The servant was obviously ordered by Yin Zhongwang to contact the young man. Then, outside the star mine, the genuine immortal's corpse that killed Yin Zhongwang said, "You sent someone to kill me because I didn't want to join the Manwei dynasty." The Manwei dynasty speculated that the person who controlled the genuine immortal's corpse was that young man. It means that Yin Zhongwang's servant was ordered by Yin Zhongwang to invite the young man to join the Manwei dynasty. But the young man refused. Yin Zhongwang was very unhappy about this, so he sent someone to kill the young man, but they didn't succeed. Then, in anger, the young man used his divine soul to control the genuine immortal's corpse to kill Yin Zhongwang. And he took away all the star stones that Yin Zhongwang obtained from the star mine? It seems so. Isn't this a little too careless? It seems like it's just a simple guess. It can't be confirmed, right? It doesn't sound too serious, and it's just a guess. However, this guess can be said to be the truth, because it said that Yin Zhongwang and his two servants treated them with respect ever since they entered the super spiritual domain. It was only when they came into contact with that young man that they had a bad relationship with. It seems that Yin Zhongwang had lost face because of it, and with Yin Zhongwang's status, it's understandable that he would do something after losing face. Combined with the sentence, just because I didn't want to join the Manwei dynasty, you sent someone to kill me, when the genuine immortal's corpse killed Yin Zhongwang. This guess is very consistent, right? This seems to be the case. The person who was doubtful nodded, then whispered, but if that's really the case, then Yin Zhongwang is purely. The person looked left and right, then lowered his voice even more. If that's really the case, then Yin Zhongwang's death is his own fault. He can't blame anyone. The Manwei dynasty actually put out a warrant for someone with such great fanfare? So what? Does the Manwei dynasty care about who's right and who's wrong? They only cared that someone had killed an important figure of their bloodline and offended the dignity of their bloodline. And there's one more thing. It said that Yin Zhongwang obtained a frightening amount of celestial stones. Even for the Manwei dynasty, it's a super treasure. Now, the Manwei dynasty put out a warrant for that young man for 2 reasons. One is to avenge Yin Zhongwang and maintain their dignity, and more importantly, to take back those celestial stones. It said that several genuine immortals and true ancestors of this lineage have come out of seclusion. What? For that person, the Manwei dynasty's genuine immortals came out of seclusion? It said so. This actually alarmed the genuine immortals? The genuine immortals are going to do it themselves? That can't be helped. That person has a genuine immortal's corpse and a genuine immortal weapon. He's invincible below the genuine immortal level. Only the genuine immortals can suppress him. On the avenue, the cultivators discussed with different expressions on their faces. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were still some distance away from the avenue, so they naturally heard the cultivators' discussion. Lin Tianwei narrowed her eyes. The people of the Wanwei dynasty are quite quick-witted. Just from the unpleasant contact between Yin Zhongwang's azure-robed servant and us, and the words you said while controlling the withered corpse of a true immortal, they were able to deduce that you killed Yin Zhongwang. Wuxing Crocodile was a bit surprised. To be able to dominate the starry sky, the experts of this lineage naturally can't be mediocre. It's normal for them to be able to infer something like this. Lin Tian said, moreover, it's not difficult to come up with something like this. Wuxing Crocodile nodded. Well, that's true. Then it asked, then, what should we do now? If the genuine immortal expert of this lineage finds us, even if we have the transcendence elixir that can increase our combat power by 10 times, according to what you said before, I'm afraid it'll be difficult to resist. The difference in combat power is huge. It said, looking at Lin Tiandao. By the way, I forgot that you're special. You're a reincarnated body and have experienced many heavenly tribulations. Although you're in the early stage of eternity, your combat power is definitely much stronger than Lord Crocodile and Little Taichu. With your current cultivation and the transcendence elixir, can you defeat a genuine immortal? Hearing its question, Little Taichu couldn't help but look at Lin Tian. Lin Tian shook his head and said, I can't win. The gap between my current combat power and a genuine immortal's combat power is more than 10 times. If I want to defeat a genuine immortal, with the various conditions under my control now, I have to at least increase my cultivation. As he spoke, he suddenly stopped speaking and tilted his head to look towards the southeast. Wisps of astonishment appeared in his eyes. What's wrong? Seeing his action, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu were a little curious. This Guqin sound is very special. Lin Tiandao fixed his gaze on the southeast with this place as the center. What? Guqin sound? What Guqin sound? Wuxing Crocodile was puzzled and looked in the direction of Lin Tian's gaze. The next moment, it was slightly moved. I heard it. A glimmer of light appeared in its eyes. It seems very special, very unusual. Little Taichu looked in the southeast and called out in a childish voice. There was also a faint glimmer in its eyes. Obviously, it also heard the Guqin sound from the southeast and felt the uniqueness of the Guqin sound. Let's go and take a look. Lin Tiandao. The faint Guqin sound came from the southeast. It was weak, peaceful, and tranquil, as if it was played with the Tao as the strings. It contained a very special and very amazing Tao rhythm, which made his divine soul tremble when he heard the Guqin sound, even though he was in the eternal realm. His soul power vaguely became a little stronger, which really surprised him. Immediately, he, the 5 elements crocodile, and little grand primordium rose into the air at the same time, flying towards the southeast direction of this place at an extremely fast speed. After more than 2 hours, an ordinary little village appeared in front of them. The zither music had become much clearer in this place compared to when they first heard it. It came from a locust tree forest to the west of the village. Chapter 1488. The village was not small. There were about 100 or so households, and they were all ordinary people. Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu arrived at this place. They only briefly scanned the village before their gazes fell straight on the locust tree forest on the west side of the village. The locust tree forest was not very big. It was about 100 feet in radius. The locust trees inside were not very tall. The leaves were green, and pale, white locust flowers bloomed. There was a faint fragrance floating nearby. The faint sound of a zither drifted out from the forest. It was quiet and peaceful. Lin Tianji felt comfortable all over as he listened to this zither music. This was because the zither music here was much clearer than when he first heard it from far away. At this time, he felt his spirit vibrate more intensely, and his soul power was increasing on its own. Let's go in and take a look. As he spoke, he called for Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu to descend from the void. They walked on foot and quickly entered the locust tree forest. A scorching sun hung in the sky. The sunlight penetrated through the gaps between the branches and leaves of the locust trees, casting specks of light on the ground. As soon as the three of them entered the locust tree forest, they felt a cool and comfortable feeling. The zither music that lingered in the air was much clearer and more melodious than when they were outside. Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu walked in. As they listened to the zither music, they felt an indescribable comfort. It was as if the Tao was surrounding them. As they listened to the zither music, they walked deeper into the locust tree forest where the zither music was even clearer. The locust tree forest was not big. In the blink of an eye, they walked to the center of the forest, where the zither music was the clearest. In other words, the zither music was coming from this place. However, when they came here and found the source of the zither music, the three of them could not help but change their expressions. Lin Tian looked ahead. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. As far as the eye could see, there was a small tomb at the center of the locust tree forest. The zither music was coming from the small tomb. A tomb? Whooshing Crocodile was shocked. Even Little Taichu couldn't help but widen his big, watery eyes. They had heard the sound of the zither from afar and felt that it was extraordinary, so they had chased after it until they reached this place. Unexpectedly, the source of the zither sound was actually a simple little tomb. "Who are you?" An old voice sounded, and a white-haired old man walked in from outside the forest. The old man was leaning on a walking stick. He looked to be in his 70s, and there was not the slightest fluctuation of Zhen Yuan or divine power around his body. Obviously, he was just an ordinary person. "Who are you?" The old man asked as he approached Lin Tian. At the same time, the old man also saw the Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu beside Lin Tian. However, he did not pay much attention to them because Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu were not speaking. He only thought that Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu were Lin Tian's pets. After all, many people in this world had pets. Lin Tian saw the old man's eyes sweep over Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu. He naturally understood that the old man thought that Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu were his pets. He gave a look to the Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu, indicating that they should temporarily play the role of pets and not startle this ordinary old man. He stepped forward and said politely, "Hello, old man. I am not a suspicious person. I just heard a very nice zither sound nearby, so I came here." "What?" Hearing Lin Tian's words, the old man was shocked. "You can still hear the zither sound in this forest?" Lin Tian nodded. At the same time, he was curious. "Old man, do you know about the zither sound? Can you tell me more about it?" When the old man asked him, he used the word "also." Obviously, he knew about the zither sound in this place. Beside him, Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu did not speak. However, a glimmer of light flashed in their eyes as they looked straight at the old man. "I know. How can I not know? This is something that has been passed down for generations in our village. Everyone in the village knows about it. The old man nodded. When Lin Tian heard this, he immediately knew where the old man came from. He must have come from the small village near the Huai Tree Forest. However, he did not care about this. What he cared about was that the old man knew about the zither sound in this place. He asked, "Then, can you tell me more about the zither sound here? Is it convenient?" The zither sound here was too unusual. Now that the old man knew about it, he naturally wanted to know more about it. The old man looked at the curious expression on Lin Tian's face and did not refuse. "It is not inconvenient." When Lin Tian heard this, he immediately stepped forward and very politely helped the old man to a blue stone in the Huai Tree Forest to sit down. "Please tell me about it," he said politely. The old man looked at Lin Tian and nodded with a smile. It was rare to see such a polite young man nowadays. "This old man only heard about it from my grandfather who passed away." Of course, this old man's grandfather also heard about it from the people from 2 generations ago. Because this matter was too long ago, so long ago that it's hard to say exactly when it happened. The old man said, "It is said that a long time ago, there was a witch living in the village. She always had a very gentle smile on her face. She was not originally from the village and seemed to have moved in from somewhere else. I heard from my grandfather that there were many kinds of diseases in those years. People in the village often fell ill and died because they could not get good treatment. However, ever since the witch moved into the village, she could easily cure anyone who fell ill, no matter what kind of disease it was. She would also help the villagers if they had any other problems. She could solve them easily without any compensation." As the old man spoke, although he had never met the witch, his face and eyes were full of respect. Then he showed a trace of regret and said, "However, I heard that the witch did not stay in the village for long. She passed away about 10 years later." Lin Tian knew that the word witch was a sacred title in ancient times. It meant that she was a woman who could communicate with the gods. At this time, the old man said these words and did not mention the zither sound. However, he also knew that the old man would not mention the witch for no reason when he asked about the zither sound. "Old man, is the zither sound here related to the witch?" he asked. The old man nodded and said, "I heard from my grandfather that the witch knew many things. In those 10 years, she would always play the zither in this locust tree forest when she was free." As he spoke, the old man stood up and walked step by step to the small tomb in the center of the locust tree. He bowed respectfully and then said, "This tomb is the witch's tomb. The witch used to play the zither here. It is said that every time the witch played the zither, the villagers would come to listen. Every time they heard it, they would become very energetic and all their fatigue would be swept away." "Are you saying that the zither sound I'm hearing now is the sound of the witch playing the zither a long time ago?" Lin Tian's expression changed. "Yes." The old man nodded and said, "In fact, it is said that not long after the witch passed away, the sound of the zither could still be heard in this locust tree forest. The villagers would often come here to pay their respects and listen to the remnant sound of the zither. However, as time passed, gradually no one could hear the sound of the zither anymore. This old man was an ordinary person. After someone died, if the sound of the person playing the zither still lingered in the space, even if they did not personally experience it, they would be surprised if they heard it from others. However, this old man was not. When he mentioned this matter, there was only reverence and respect on his face. And this was entirely because of the reverence he had for the great witch that he had never met before, which was something that came from the bottom of his heart. After that, the villagers continued to hear the zither sound left behind by the witch in this locust tree forest for generations. "I didn't expect that you would still be able to hear it." The old man looked at the witch's tomb in front of him and then looked at Lin Tian. At this time, there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. Lin Tian was also surprised because of the old man's words. At this moment, he was very shocked. Based on the old man's expression, he could believe that the witch the old man spoke of was definitely something that had happened and was not a legend made up by the villagers. At the same time, based on the old man's words, he could also imagine that the witch had existed for at least 100,000 years. She had played the zither here so long ago, and the sound of the zither had not completely dissipated. It had been floating in this place all this time, and he could still hear it now. Moreover, it made his spirit tremble and become stronger. This meant that the witch from back then was definitely not an ordinary person. She had to be a super powerful existence that was definitely far beyond his current realm. Why would such a powerful person come to such an ordinary village? Moreover, under normal circumstances, people who surpassed his current realm were already immortal and had the same lifespan as the heavens and earth. How could she silently die and disappear in this ordinary village? How did the witch pass away? He asked the old man. It is said that she died of a strange disease. Before she passed away, she would always cough up blood. The old man sighed and looked at the small tomb in front of him. According to the words passed down from the ancestors of the village, the witch's medical skills were unparalleled. No matter what illness or disease was in the village, she could quickly cure it. However, when she fell ill, she was powerless. It seems to be true that the saying that doctors can't cure themselves is true. Lin Tian was moved. Before she passed away, she often coughed up blood. The witch was seriously injured at that time. The faint sound of the zither surrounded his ears. He looked at the small tomb in front of him. On the tombstone, there were the words "Witch's Memorial Tablet" engraved. Then, in the next moment, he looked at the tombstone and could not help but be slightly moved. Because the tombstone was not made of ordinary stone, it was made of firestone. This kind of stone was very hard. With the strength of an ordinary person, even with the help of iron, it should be impossible to carve words on it. Even an ordinary cultivator in the Sea of Consciousness realm would find it difficult to do so. This tomb, was it built by the people in the village personally for the witch? He asked. Chapter 1489. Lin Tian was moved. A snow wolf was buried here? The old man nodded. The great witch was very gentle and kind. It was said that she helped a wolf cub when she went out to gather herbs. Later on, the wolf cub grew up and became that snow wolf. As he spoke, the old man sighed. Even wild beasts like wolves know how to be grateful. It is said that when the great witch passed away, that snow wolf dug up the grave and set up a tombstone like a human. It guarded this place for 49 days. Some people even saw that snow wolf shed tears. Lin Tian looked at the tombstone in front of him. Looking at the words "Great Witch's Memorial Tablet" on the tombstone, his eyes flickered. He guessed that this tomb was not set up by ordinary villagers at that time. As ordinary villagers, they did not have the ability to carve tombstones on the hard, flaming adamant rock. It was impossible to do so even with the help of sharp iron tools. However, he did not expect that the one who set up the tombstone for the great, which was a snow wolf. Gratitude? To set up tombstones and shed tears for the humans who helped me pass away. He muttered to himself. The snow wolf that grew up was able to carve tombstones on the hard, flaming adamant rock with its beast claws. At that time, it should have had a certain level of cultivation. Its cultivation should have been at least in the spiritual sea realm. When he heard the old man say these words, he suddenly felt like he was listening to a fairy tale. However, he knew that this was real. The zither music here was full of Taoist rhythms. It could not be faked. The tombstone inscriptions here could not be faked either. It was impossible for ordinary people to carve tombstones like this with their strength. The faint zither music floated in this Huai tree forest. It was quiet and peaceful. It seemed to have the power to calm anyone. Lin Tian felt his spirit tremble involuntarily again. His soul power became stronger. He looked at the old man and said, "Elder, this junior has a presumptuous request. Can this junior stay here alone for a while?" The zither music here was extraordinary. He felt that comprehending the zither music here would be of great benefit to him. The whooshing crocodile and the little Tai Chu. Perhaps it could increase their cultivation in a short period of time. The old man looked at Lin Tian and then looked at the witch's tomb in front of him. He paused for a moment and then said, "Well, after so many years, you can still hear the sound of the witch playing the zither. Maybe you and the witch are fated to be together. It doesn't hurt to stay here alone for a while." As he spoke, he looked at Lin Tian, and his expression became very serious. However, You are absolutely not allowed to do anything disrespectful here. Even though Lady Witch only stayed in the village for a dozen years before she passed away, she has done countless favors for the village. She is the most important person in the history of our village. Please be at ease. Junior will definitely not do anything disrespectful in this place, nor will I destroy a single blade of grass or stone here. I will just quietly listen to the melodious zither music here. Lin Tian promised seriously. Seeing Lin Tian's serious expression, the old man nodded slightly. Okay, then this old man will take his leave first. As he spoke, the old man walked out of the locust tree forest. At the same time, he sighed emotionally. This old man also wants to listen to that zither music. Lin Tian watched as the old man left and disappeared from sight. Then, he turned his head and looked at the small tomb in front of him again. A person whose cultivation was far superior to his had silently come to this village and then disappeared in the village. He really did not understand. However, he did not think too much about this matter. Since the witch had come to this village back then, she must have had a special reason. As for that reason, he did not need to look too deeply into it. The faint zither music floated in this place. It was tranquil, peaceful, and had an extraordinary Tao rhyme. Almost all of you know, properly comprehend this zither music. It will be of great use to us now, he said to the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu. Understood? The whooshing crocodile said. Naturally, it could feel the benefits of the zither music here. As for some things about the zither music here, after listening to the old man's words, it knew that the zither music was left in this space by a very gentle witch who often played the zither here. Because of this, it also understood that the witch's cultivation was far superior to theirs. Otherwise, the zither music from back then would not have remained in this space for so long. Now, they only needed to seriously comprehend the zither music here to cultivate. Yeah, the little Taichu also responded in a childish voice. Let's begin. Lin Tianan Dao. Immediately, the man and the two beasts each found a position very close to the small tomb in the locust tree forest to listen to the zither music. Lin Tian sat down on a blue stone next to the small tomb. He activated the Heart Sutra of Sun to make his essence, chi, and spirit highly concentrated. This way, he could more clearly capture the zither music here and better comprehend it. Buzz! He activated the Heart Sutra of Sun, and the golden light outside his body was faint. The zither music became clearer because of this. In this zither music, strands of Taoist rhymes intertwined. They could not be seen or touched, but Lin Tian could clearly capture them. Then he integrated his own consciousness into it and blended with the Taoist rhymes. He began to comprehend the Taoist technique. Suddenly, the golden divine light outside his body became even more blazing. The great path nomological laws in his body also began to become stronger. He used the Taoist rhymes intertwined with the zither music here to stimulate and improve his own Taoist rhymes, and then improve himself. This was Tao comprehension. For cultivators, Tao comprehension was the same as heaven and earth spirit chi and heaven and earth treasures. No matter what level one was at, the right Tao comprehension could allow a cultivator's strength to soar rapidly. It was recorded in the ancient books that some powerful existences ascended to the immortal world after comprehending the Taoist rhymes. This was enough to show that if one comprehended the Taoist rhymes, it would be very beneficial to the cultivator's body. Buzz! Lin Tian captured the zither music here. The great path nomological laws in his body surged. The Taoist rhymes intertwined outside his body and leaped. This Taoist rhyme was hazy, sacred, and vast. However, it was difficult to tell what kind of Taoist rhyme it was. Today, his cultivation had reached the height of the eternal realm. He did not know how many times he had deduced the Taoist rhyme he had mastered. However, it was always to no avail. He could not tell what kind of Taoist rhyme he had mastered. The only thing he knew was that this Taoist rhyme was very tyrannical. In the case of equal cultivation and combat strength, the Taoist rhyme he had comprehended could not be stopped by any great path among all the enemies he had encountered since his cultivation. He was in the midst of cultivation, activating the Heart Sutra of Sunday. More of his consciousness was integrated into the Taoist rhymes intertwined with the zither music here. He used the Taoist rhymes to stimulate his Taoist rhymes on a deeper level, making his Taoist rhymes slowly strengthen. Soon, the Taoist rhyme outside his body gradually began to thicken. At the same time, his essence, chi, spirit, and spiritual soul began to grow. Although the speed of growth was not very fast, it was definitely not slow either. His cultivation also rose, from the early stage of the eternal realm to the middle stage of the eternal realm. His spiritual soul, as his essence, spirit, and spiritual soul gradually grew stronger, and as his cultivation grew stronger, his spiritual soul trembled slightly. Immediately, in the next moment, his body trembled slightly. As his spiritual soul trembled, his spiritual consciousness blended into the Taoist rhymes in the zither music. A strange picture appeared in his sea of consciousness. He saw a little girl of 7 or 8 years old. Her body was dirty and thin, as if she had not eaten for several days. When she passed by a small village, a simple old woman took out rice porridge and steamed buns. The little girl wolfed down the food while the old woman smiled kindly. Then, as time passed, he saw the girl gradually grow up and embark on the path of cultivation. She became a slender and elegant young girl. After that, gradually, he could not see the girl's appearance clearly. He could only see the girl constantly growing stronger. She walked across the land and across the sky. Finally, after the destructive picture that seemed like the explosion of heaven and earth, he saw the girl with a blurred face standing in front of a small village again. She walked into the small village step by step, overlooking the whole village as if she was looking for something. Unfortunately, she could not find it. There was a faint sadness mixed in this picture. There were many people in the small village. The girl lived in the village, helping the villagers cure diseases, driving away the fierce beasts that invaded from time to time. She helped the villagers who needed to get water from dozens of miles away to dig wells in the village. She helped the villagers open up more land and taught the villagers the best planting methods. She taught the children in the village how to read. The appearance of the village became better and better, and the lives of the villagers became better and better. She played with the young children, helped the old villagers who had lost their grandchildren wash and cook, and played the zither for all the villagers in the Huai tree forest. Gradually, the melodious zither music floated in the picture, mixed with warmth and laughter, until one day, when the girl finally played the zither in the Huai tree forest, he saw blood dripping on the strings. Then, the picture dissipated, leaving only the sound of the zither drifting leisurely. This is Lin Tian's soul trembled. These pictures were intertwined in the sound of the zither. Were these the memory fragments of the person who played the zither? The thin little girl who passed by the small village that year slowly grew up and embarked on the path of cultivation. She became stronger and stronger. She was the witch who came later. He was moved. Picture after picture flashed in his sea of consciousness. He finally understood why the powerful woman who was called the Great Witch by the villagers came to such an ordinary small village. When she was young and hungry, she was indebted to the villagers for a meal. Then, she unexpectedly embarked on the path of cultivation. Her cultivation gradually became strong, very strong. Then, for some reason, the woman was severely injured. It seemed that she did not have much time left, so she returned to the small village where she had been indebted to. She wanted to find the old woman who had given her a meal and repay her kindness. Unfortunately, she did not find her in the end. Even from the picture floating in his sea of consciousness, he could feel a kind of sadness. He also knew that at that time, the witch suddenly understood a problem, and that was that the lifespan of ordinary mortals couldn't be compared to that of cultivators. The old woman who had given her a meal back then had already turned into dust and couldn't have lived for so long. Therefore, the woman stayed in the village. Unable to repay the old woman, she dedicated the rest of her life to the entire village until her death. Chapter 1490. The Golden Divine Light and the Light of the Great Path intertwined outside of his body. Lin Tian finally understood why that powerful witch came to such a simple village. It turned out that when she was young, she had received a meal from an old woman in the village. He felt a little emotional. Just for the grace of a meal, such a powerful cultivator finally returned to this small village. After the old woman passed away, she silently contributed to the village where the old woman once lived. She gave all the remaining 10 years of her life to the small village. She did not change the worldview and values of the villagers in the village. She did not bring the power of cultivation to this place. She only gave herself to the village like a mortal. In his view, this was more touching than the other party teaching the villagers cultivation and leading the villagers on the road of cultivation. This was a person worthy of respect. The faint sound of the guqin intertwined, floating in this locust tree forest. Lin Tian took a deep breath to calm himself down. His powerful divine sense continued to integrate into the sound of the guqin, to understand the way contained in the sound and improve himself. The golden divine light outside his body became more blazing, and the light of the way outside his body became more vigorous. The growth of his essence, qi, and spirit began to speed up a lot. The speed of his cultivation also increased, climbing rapidly. In this way, time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. On this day, the golden divine light and the light of the great path outside Lin Tian's body became extremely rich. Immediately, a bright light shone between his eyebrows. There was an amazing surge of spiritual energy, and then it quickly calmed down. The next moment he opened his eyes. The light in his eyes was intertwined, hazy and vast, as if it was a vast starry sky. The middle stage of the eternal realm, he muttered to himself. For a month he had been comprehending the way in the sound of the guqin here, quietly comprehending the way. After all, he had achieved something. On this day, he stepped into the middle stage of the eternal realm. His physical body, spiritual soul, and sea of consciousness were much stronger, and his origin was brighter. He stood up and stretched his body. With a slight movement, there was a burst of wind and thunder. His momentum was very vigorous. The pressure of the eternal realm was even more amazing, and the light of the great path was more condensed, like a robe of the way wrapped around the surface of his body. Very good. At this moment, he could clearly feel the changes in himself. His battle prowess had greatly increased, and he was much stronger than he was a month ago. Moreover, the most important thing was that at this time, he had stepped into the middle stage of the eternal realm by comprehending the zither music here. His cultivation at this level was very stable, unlike when he had just stepped into this level. He didn't need to consolidate his cultivation at all. He took another deep breath, and then looked at Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. Both of them were still in the midst of comprehending the Tao. Their essence, qi, and spirit were getting stronger, and their Tao light was getting stronger. It wouldn't be long before they reached the middle stage of the eternal realm. Therefore, he stopped comprehending the Tao and walked to the side to protect Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. On this day, 2 extraordinary divine powers intertwined one after another. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu rushed into the middle stage of the eternal realm one after another. Their essence, qi, and spirit were much stronger. The 2 of them soared into the air and flew up from their original positions. "Kid, did you see those images?" Wuxing Crocodile asked Lin Tian. It was rare that it didn't howl excitedly after its cultivation was promoted like before. At this time, it looked at the small tomb in the center of the locust tree. Lin Tian heard this and was slightly moved. "You saw it too?" He looked at Wuxing Crocodile. "I saw it." Wuxing Crocodile nodded. Next to him, Little Taichu cried out in a childish voice and raised its little paw like a child. Apparently, it was indicating that it had also seen those images. At this time, there was no need to say anything more. One person and 2 beasts understood that the images they saw were the same. For a time, their eyes couldn't help but fall on the small tomb in the center of the locust tree forest. Although the other party seems to have suffered a very serious injury and doesn't have much time left to live, as a powerful existence beyond the eternal realm, Lord Crocodile admires her for being able to silently dedicate the rest of her life to an ordinary village just because of a meal in the past. Whooshing Crocodile sighed. Lin Tian nodded silently and stared at the small tomb in front of him. As Whooshing Crocodile said, the witch was indeed worthy of admiration. He looked at the small tomb. Whooshing Crocodile and little Taichu also looked at it. Their eyes couldn't help but light up slightly. In the blink of an eye, dozens of breaths passed. Let's go. Lin Tiandao. He followed the sound of the guqin and gained enlightenment here. Now it was time to leave. Whooshing Crocodile and little Taichu nodded. Lin Tian took one last look at the witch's tomb in the center of the locust tree forest and walked out of the locust tree forest with Whooshing Crocodile and little Taichu. After walking out of the locust tree forest, he went to the village next to the locust tree forest and saw with his own eyes the well that the witch had led the villagers of that era to dig and the land that the witch had opened with the villagers of that era. Then he found the old man who explained some things about the witch a month ago and said goodbye to him. I went to the locust tree forest after that and thought that you might stay there for a long time. I wanted to send you some food or something, but I didn't see you. You should have left by then. Why did you appear again? The old man had a strange expression on his face. It's like this. Previously, because of some urgent matters, I suddenly left and didn't have time to say goodbye to you. Now that the matter has been settled, I rushed back and thought that I should say goodbye to you. Otherwise, if I just left without saying a word, it would be too impolite. Lin Tian said. In fact, during this period, he, Whooshing Crocodile, and little Taichu had always stayed in the locust tree forest and had seen the old man come to the locust tree forest to observe. However, at that time, in order to prevent others from disturbing their enlightenment, he cast a special technique on himself, Whooshing Crocodile, and little Taichu. People with lower cultivation than him could not see them or sense their existence. Therefore, when the old man went to the locust tree forest, he did not see him and thought that he had left. Hearing Lin Tian's words, the old man suddenly understood and smiled. Not bad, young man. You're really not bad. He felt more and more that Lin Tian really understood etiquette. After leaving because of an urgent matter, he actually came back to say goodbye to him. You're too kind. This is just the basic etiquette. This junior should have done it. Lin Tian was very courteous. Not long after, he truly said goodbye to the old man. Then, he led Whooshing Crocodile and little Taichu out of the small village and took one last look at the locust tree forest in the distance. Then, he walked even further away. In the blink of an eye, he led Whooshing Crocodile and little Taichu far away. Then more than 2 hours passed unknowingly. They had left more than 90 mountains behind them. Boom! Suddenly, at this moment, an extraordinary divine light beam rushed from the extreme distance. It was mixed with an aura that could make one's origin tremble. It directly pierced into the sky, startling the man and the two beasts. As far as the eye could see, the pillar of divine light shot into the sky, and it was extremely dazzling. After that, numerous strange scenes suddenly appeared in the sky at that location. Exotic flowers and plants condensed one after another, and they were interwoven with various different colors and were extremely beautiful. It was as if a sea of flowers really existed in the sky. In the sea of flowers, a palm-sized white orchid was the most eye-catching. It was condensed from light and was like the flower emperor of this sea of flowers. It was clustered in the center by countless immortal flowers and exotic grasses. This is Lin Tian's expression changed. Thousand illusion, divine, orchid. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. In the past, Lin Tian had brought back a lot of ancient books from the Xian planet. They could be said to be all-inclusive. It was recorded that a kind of divine plant called Thousand Illusion Divine Orchid would give birth to this kind of vision and reflect a sea of flowers in the sky before it matured. The conditions for this kind of divine orchid to grow were very unusual. It needed to be born in a special kind of spiritual soil. Moreover, before it matured, it couldn't be moved at all. Otherwise, the divine orchid would wither directly. At the same time, it took a very long time to mature. It needed at least hundreds of thousands of years to mature from a seedling. It could be said that it was very harsh in all aspects. However, perhaps it was because of its harsh nature that its effects were so amazing. According to the records in the ancient book, once the 1,000 illusion divine orchid was fully matured, it could be refined within 2 hours. Anyone below the golden immortal realm who refined it would be able to increase their cultivation by at least 1 realm. It was not a small realm, but a big realm. To put it simply, if an early-stage true immortal cultivator refined a fully mature 1,000 illusion divine orchid, he could at least directly step into the early-stage golden immortal realm in a short time. It was even possible for him to step into the middle-stage golden immortal realm. Moreover, it was said that this divine orchid had other amazing magical effects. It could almost really bring back the dead. It was an amazing healing medicine. No matter how injured one was, as long as one was not really dead, as long as one had a weak breath, and as long as one's divine soul had not been destroyed, this divine orchid could be restored to its original state in the blink of an eye. There is a 1,000 illusion divine orchid there, and it's about to mature? Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. Even Lin Tian's eyes and face were full of astonishment. He stared straight at the place where the divine light pillar rushed up. According to this vision, there was definitely a 1,000 illusion divine orchid in that place, where the divine light pillar rushed up, and it was about to mature. Boy, hurry up. Rush over there quickly. This is a super treasure. You can't miss it. You must get it. With our current cultivation, we can definitely reach the half-step true immortal realm at the same time if we refine it together. In addition, after we get it, we can let you refine it alone and directly reach the middle stage true immortal realm. At that time, with your strongest king body and your cultivation at the middle stage true immortal realm, maybe you can directly tear open the barrier of the immortal realm and take us into the immortal realm. Chapter 1491. The value of the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid was too great. The Wuxing Crocodile's eyes were shining with excitement. Lin Tian was not as excited as the 5-element crocodile. However, his eyes were also filled with a bright light. The 1,000 illusion divine orchid did indeed have an extremely shocking magical effect. If they could obtain it, it would be extremely beneficial to them. "Let's go," he said, and immediately called the Wuxing Crocodile and the little Taichu to go in the direction of the divine light pillar. Their speed was very fast. In about an hour, they arrived near the place where the divine light pillar had shot up. As far as the eye could see, there was a chain of mountains in front of them. The mountains were not very tall, and the spirit energy fluctuations intertwined within them were not dense. It looked like a very ordinary mountain range. It was hard to imagine that there would be a divine item like the 1,000 illusion divine orchid in this mountain range. Whoosh! 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 The sound of people breaking through the air could be heard. When they arrived, they saw a large number of cultivators rushing in from different directions. Their blood energy fluctuations were very strong. They were all experts. Obviously, they had come because of the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. The man and the 2 beasts were not surprised by this scene. After all, the value of the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid was simply too great. With such a phenomenon, it would naturally attract countless experts to fight over it if people guessed that there was a 1,000 illusion sacred orchid here. Is it really the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid? That strange phenomenon is exactly the same as recorded in the ancient books. Other than the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid, what else could it be? A large number of experts from the Manwei dynasty have arrived. It is said that there are 3 true immortals among them. They are determined to get the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. Moreover, it seems that there are a few true immortals among them. They are also here for the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. What? Even the true immortals are here. Then, what's the point of us going there? We can't get the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. Stupid. The 1,000 illusion sacred orchid needs special spiritual soil to grow. That kind of spiritual soil can nurture a divine item like the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. There must be other treasures of heaven and earth, and there must be a lot of them. Now, those true immortals will only fight for the divine item, the 1,000 illusion orchid. We'll go fight for the other natural treasures. A few cultivators were discussing among themselves. and they were moving very quickly towards the continuous mountain range. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu naturally heard the discussions of these cultivators, and their gazes flickered. Even a true immortal expert has jumped out? Wuxing Crocodile was moved. The 1,000 transformations divine orchid is refined within 2 hours after it matures. Even true immortals can reach the golden immortal stage at the very least. It's not surprising that it would jump out. Lin Tiandao, Wuxing Crocodile said. Of course, Grandpa Crocodile knows this. What Grandpa Crocodile means is that we have no hope now that the true immortal experts have jumped out. Lin Tian's eyes flickered with a faint light as he gazed into the distant mountain range. That may not be the case. Huh? Listening to his words, Wuxing Crocodile was slightly moved. Do you have a way to stop a true immortal expert? It asked. With your current eternal middle stage cultivation base, coupled with the transcendence elixir that can increase your combat power by 10 times, can you already stop a true immortal expert? No. Lin Tian shook his head and said, even though I have reached the eternal middle stage, relying solely on the transcendence elixir is still inferior to a real true immortal. Then, however, the transcendence elixir is not the only thing I can rely on. Lin Tiandao said, I have other means. He didn't elaborate. Looking at the continuous mountain range in front of him, he beckoned Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu to go into the mountain range. They were very fast and didn't hide anything. There were many cultivators coming here, so they were seen by many people in the blink of an eye. For a moment, many people were shocked. That is... The man wanted by the Manwei dynasty is the one who killed Yin Zhongwang of the Manwei dynasty and took away all the star stones that Yin Zhongwang obtained. Moreover, many of the supreme elders and other experts of other big forces were also killed by him. He actually came here? Doesn't he know that a large number of experts from the Manwei dynasty have also come here? There are even a few true immortal level experts among them. By running here, he is simply throwing himself into a trap. He should be here for the 1,000 illusion orchid, or for other treasures of heaven and earth in this mountain range. Isn't he too bold? In the face of a true immortal expert, even if he has a true immortal corpse and a true immortal weapon, he can't stop them. It's not just a true immortal expert who can't stop them. It's said that the Manwei dynasty sent many elders of the eternal realm with some kind of divine formation that can prevent a cultivator's spirit from leaving his body. It can also prevent him from controlling the true immortal corpse with his spirit. Moreover, they also brought true immortal weapons. He can't stop these eternal realm experts alone. Many cultivators stared at Lin Tian from afar, and some of them couldn't help whispering. When the Manwei dynasty investigated some things, it was speculated that Lin Tian was the one who controlled the true immortal corpse to kill Yin Zhongwang. At that time, many cultivators thought it was just speculation. But later, Lin Tian, who had never been heard of as a wanted man, came forward to clarify the matter. Therefore, they were sure that the one who controlled the true immortal corpse to kill Yin Zhongwang was indeed Lin Tian. At this time, these people were surprised to see Lin Tian appear here with Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. Many people consciously distanced themselves from Lin Tian, for fear that they would be mistaken as having something to do with Lin Tian. If this attracted the hostility of the Manwei dynasty, they would have no place to cry. It would lead to a huge disaster. These people looked at Lin Tian with fear, and their voices were very low. However, Lin Tian's current cultivation was at the middle stage of the eternal realm. Naturally, he heard all these people's discussions. However, Lin Tian didn't care about this at all. He didn't care at all. He called Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu and continued to walk towards the rolling mountain range ahead. Within the continuous mountain range, there were many mountains. After they entered the mountain range, they quickly walked to a place that was very far away. In the blink of an eye, a quarter of an hour passed. Boom! In front of them, in the depths of the mountain range, tyrannical divine power intertwined with true immortal level fluctuations and the law of immortal Tao. It was extremely powerful. This is a place directly below the divine light beam that rushed up from before. There are already true immortals fighting there. Whooshing Crocodile's expression changed. Let's go there first. Lin Tiandao. Looking at that position, he called Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu to speed up. In the blink of an eye, they were already far away. Whoosh! 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 Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. The void shook, and red flags rushed out from all directions. The flags were engraved with dense runes and divine seals. In the blink of an eye, one person and two beasts were completely sealed in the middle. Found you! A cold voice rang out. The void shook, and 9 middle-aged men stepped out in succession. Each of them was very strong, and their cultivation was at the middle stage of the eternal realm. Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu looked at the red flags that sealed the surroundings, and then looked at the 9 middle-aged men who stepped out. They were very calm. Manwei Dynasty. Lin Tian looked at the 9 people and said, "These people had divine power fluctuations similar to Yin Zhongwang's. They should have cultivated the same ancient divine arts." So, he didn't have to think too much to know that these 9 people were all cultivators of the Manwei Dynasty. Around them, the red flags were intertwined, and the divine seals on them flashed brilliantly, completely sealing the void in all directions. At the same time, the 9 middle-aged men also stood in different positions, forming a kind of joint attack formation. Our Manwei Dynasty has been famous in the starry sky. No one has ever dared to disrespect us. You dare to offend us like that. You dare to attack the big shot of our dynasty and take away all the star stones obtained by our Zhongwang. You are really bold and deserve to die." One of them said with cold eyes. The other 8 middle-aged men also had cold eyes, and their killing intent was very strong. "Humph, you killed him. You robbed him. So what? Your Manwei Dynasty is nothing," Whooshing Crocodile said sarcastically. The 9 middle-aged men looked at Whooshing Crocodile, and their faces sank. Their eyes became colder, and their killing intent became stronger. Then, one of them looked at Lin Tian and said, "Sure enough, it was you who did it." According to various signs, although the Manwei Dynasty had confirmed that the person who killed Yin Zhongwang was Lin Tian, when they heard Whooshing Crocodile's words, they were even more certain. Their eyes became as sharp as swords. "So what?" Lin Tian looked at the 9 of them and said, "Why did you come in front of me? Do you want to kill me?" In fact, he knew that the 9 middle-aged men wanted to kill him, but he just said it casually. "What do you think? Do you think you can still live after offending our dynasty?" The 9 of them had cruel eyes, and cold divine power intertwined around their bodies. Red flags suppressed the surroundings, sealing the space in all directions. They started to move, closing in on the man and the 2 beasts. They were going to kill the man and the 2 beasts, and they were going to take back all the starstones that Lin Tian took from Yin Zhongwang. Seeing the 9 of them closing in, Lin Tianyi did not move at all. He seemed very calm. "You're all here to die." Whooshing Crocodile looked at the 9 middle-aged men and said. Little Taichu mumbled in its baby voice. Obviously, it had the same meaning as Whooshing Crocodile. The 9 middle-aged men's eyes were cruel. One of them said coldly, "Don't think you can do anything just because you have the corpse of a true immortal. Do you think we don't know about this? With the soul-sealing quake suppressing the surroundings, none of you can control the corpse of a true immortal. As for true immortal weapons, we have them too." As the man spoke, a treasured saber rushed out of his body with a boom. It was intertwined with dense divine runes, and the aura of a true immortal and the law of immortals were very thick. "Offending our dynasty, only death awaits you. Kill." Chapter 1492. As one of the 9 middle-aged men of the Manwei Dynasty made his move, the other 8 also made their moves at the same time. For a time, 9 vast divine powers pressed down on Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu at the same time. The turbulent divine powers seemed to be able to obliterate everything. Moreover, at the same time, the 9 of them also raised their genuine immortal weapon treasured sabers. The immortal Tao law was fierce and cold. Suddenly, The aura of destruction rumbled in every corner of this space. All the killing lights fell in front of the man and the two beasts in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian raised his hand, and the Tao map of the four symbols emerged. The power of annihilation intertwined to meet the attacks of the nine people. Chi! With a soft sound, the killing divine powers of the nine people were all annihilated by the Tao map of the four symbols. Yo! The nine people of the Manwei dynasty all turned pale. They had joined forces to launch a killing attack, and even a trace of the killing power of a genuine immortal weapon, but it was disintegrated so easily. How did you? The nine people looked at Lin Tian, and for a moment, their faces were full of shock. The young man in front of them was so powerful. I told you earlier that you're here to die. Whooshing Crocodile looked at the nine people and said sarcastically. Lin Tian looked calm and said, let's end this quickly. There's no need to waste time with them. With that, he took a step and instantly appeared in front of a middle-aged man in a green robe among the nine people. He raised his hand and threw a simple and direct punch. Boom! The void shook violently. He was only relying on the pure strength of his body to throw a punch, but his strength was terrifying to the extreme. The middle-aged man in a green robe turned pale. He was shocked by both Lin Tian's speed and Lin Tian's punch. You! Puff! The powerful punch directly shattered the middle-aged man in a green robe, and even his spirit was annihilated. Now, he was at the middle stage of the Eternal Realm, and the middle-aged man in a green robe was also at the middle stage of the Eternal Realm. Under the same realm, how could ordinary people withstand the punch of the strongest reincarnation body? It was too easy to kill the opponent with one punch. How is this possible? The other 8 people from the Manwei dynasty trembled, their expressions changing again. With just a single punch, he had killed one of their middle-stage, Eternal Realm powerful elders. Boom! On the other side, Whooshing Crocodile made his move. He immediately used the Demon Clan's great magical skill to envelop one of the 8 people who were still alive. The tyrannical demon force crushed him, and in the blink of an eye, he was crushed into pieces. The other party's divine soul fled in fear, but it had only escaped a few feet before it was met with Whooshing Crocodile's divine sense-killing sword. With a chi sound, it was split into pieces, and its body and soul were destroyed. It was a primordial beast, and after cultivating a second time, its source had become much stronger. Although it was not as abnormal as Lin Tian, it was definitely comparable to a normal king body. Within the same realm, there were also very few people who could stop it. Its battle prowess was extremely strong. Yeah! Little Taichu made a childish sound, and the wings on its back shook gently. A 6-colored divine light floated past, enveloping another middle-stage Eternal Realm elder of the Manwei dynasty and directly crushing him into pieces. Kid Lin's battle prowess is incredible, and so is this little guy. I don't know what race it is, but it's a complete mess. That 6-colored divine light is really scary. Whooshing Crocodile sighed. It's really scary. Lin Tian felt the same way. The 6-colored divine light of the little guy was really unusual. It was almost like the power of the Tao. As he said so, he glanced at the little guy and then looked at the last 6 people from the Manwei dynasty. Quickly deal with them, he said to Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu. As soon as he finished speaking, he moved again. He took a step forward, appeared in front of another of the 6 people, and directly waved his fist. This person was the leader of the several Eternal Realm elders of the Manwei dynasty who came here. He was holding a genuine immortal weapon. When he saw Lin Tian close in, he immediately trembled violently and directly pushed the treasure knife to the limit with his own divine power. For a time, the genuine immortal weapon treasure knife bloomed with immortal divine light, and the sharp knife light was cold and oppressive. Humph! With a cold snort, Whooshing Crocodile took out a genuine immortal weapon called the Soul-Breaking All, which was obtained by the Zhou family of the remote antiquity in the Tong Hung Ancient Star. At this time, he took it out and pressed it against the genuine immortal weapon treasure knife held up by the Manwei dynasty elder, opening a way for Lin Tian to kill. The Manwei dynasty elder who took out the genuine immortal weapon was shocked and looked at Whooshing Crocodile. You. He had heard that Lin Tian had a genuine immortal weapon, which was an immortal sword, and had been on guard. But he did not expect that Whooshing Crocodile, who rose with Lin Tianyi, also had a genuine immortal weapon. At this time, when he took out the genuine immortal weapon, he was caught off guard and directly hit his genuine immortal weapon, which directly made him unable to attack Lin Tian or defend against Lin Tian's attack. Die! An indifferent voice sounded. At this time, Lin Tian's fist pressed down and fell on the man's chest. With a puff, the man could not dodge and was directly blown to pieces, and his spirit body also dissipated. Lin Tian looked at the genuine immortal weapon, which was temporarily out of control. He directly reached out and grabbed it in his hand at a very fast speed. The seal of 4 symbols surged, and in an instant, all the other people's spiritual brand on it were wiped out. In a moment, only 5 people of the Manwei dynasty were left. Seeing this scene, they all trembled again. How could this be? The 5 people were terrified. They knew that Lin Tian had a genuine immortal corpse, so they prepared dozens of special red flags as a formation to prevent the spirit from leaving the body, so that Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu could not control the genuine immortal corpse with their spirit. They also knew that Lin Tian had a genuine immortal sword, so they also brought a genuine immortal saber. In summary, they believed that as long as they could find Lin Tian, they could easily suppress and kill Lin Tian, wash away the shame of Lin Tian's death at the hands of Yin Zhongwang of the Manwei dynasty, and at the same time, take back the huge number of starstones that Lin Tian had taken from Yin Zhongwang. However, the scene now made them tremble. This scene was completely different from what they had imagined. Lin Tianyi and his people did not use the genuine immortal corpse at all, and Lin Tian was not the only one who had a genuine immortal weapon. Whooshing Crocodile, who had risen with Lin Tianyi, also had one. Now, in the blink of an eye, they had killed 4 elders at the middle stage of the Eternal Realm. Moreover, the genuine immortal weapons they brought out of the dynasty were also taken away. In any case, they did not expect this to happen. Go! One of them said in a trembling voice, and immediately retreated, flying away into the distance. At the same time, the other 4 people also retreated, flying away into the distance like lightning. All of them were extremely fast. At this moment, they fully realized that the strength of Lin Tianyi and his people was terrifying. Even if they did not have the genuine immortal corpse, they were definitely not a force that they could contend with. Lin Tian looked at the 5 people who were escaping with an indifferent expression. He just took a step forward and blocked their way. The 5 people trembled at the same time. They had already raised their speed to the limit, but Lin Tian caught up with them in an instant and cut off their way forward. You clangs. Lin Tian raised his hand, holding the genuine immortal saber that he had just taken from the elder of the Manwei dynasty, and directly slashed out. With a whoosh, a fierce saber aura slashed out, cutting through the space, and in the blink of an eye, it was close to one of the 5 people. Ah! A scream came out, and the man's body collapsed. He was directly destroyed in body and soul by the saber. After all, this saber attack was made by Lin Tian, who was at the middle stage of the Eternal Realm and wielded a genuine immortal weapon. How could an ordinary cultivator at the middle stage of the Eternal Realm withstand it? In the blink of an eye, only 4 of the 9 people from the Manwei dynasty were left. They all trembled even more, and their faces turned pale. Earlier, when the 9 of them had heard that Lin Tian had come to this mountain range, they had immediately come together with the intention of suppressing and killing Lin Tian. However, the outcome was like this. In the blink of an eye, 5 of the 9 of them had been killed. Now, only 4 remained. Boom! The aura of a genuine immortal and the law of the immortal Tao roared. Whooshing Crocodile controlled the soul-breaking all. At this time, it slashed out across the air, shrouding one of the 4 people and shattering it. His spirit body was also crushed in the broken body. Little Taichu growled in a childish voice, and the 6-colored divine light rose again, shrouding one of the last 3 people. This divine light was so powerful that the person who was shrouded could not even struggle. In the blink of an eye, his body and soul were destroyed. In the blink of an eye, only 2 of the 9 powerful elders of the Manwei dynasty were left. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu, each in a direction, surrounded the last 2 people in the center. Suddenly, the last 2 Eternal Realm experts of the Manwei dynasty turned pale to the extreme. Spare us? One of them said in a trembling voice. The other person opened his mouth, his lips trembling. You don't mess around anymore? My dynasty's 3 genuine immortals and true ancestors are in this mountain range. If you fight again, you will be sensed by the 3 true ancestors of my dynasty. At that time, you will die. Lin Tian looked at the 2 people. One was begging for mercy, and the other was threatening, but there was not the slightest ripple in his expression. Clang! He attacked again. The genuine immortal saber in his hand slashed down again. 2 sharp saber auras flew out and rolled directly toward the 2 people. Puff! Puff! 2 bloody mists exploded. The last 2 people of the Manwei dynasty exploded at the same time, their bodies and souls destroyed. At the same time, the dozens of special flags that these people used to prevent the divine soul from leaving the body and to seal the void also collapsed under the power of the saber auras. They turned into debris and then into ashes in the blink of an eye. Why did you send yourself to death? Wuxing Crocodile said to himself. He put away the genuine immortal weapon, the soul-shattering all, into his body. Lin Tian put away the genuine immortal saber that he had taken from the Manwei dynasty elder and looked at a corner in the northwest of the continuous upper mountain range. That place was the place where the divine light beam had rushed up. It was the place where the 1,000 illusion immortal orchid was located. At this time, there was a very strong, genuine immortal aura and the law of the immortal Tao surging in that position. Moreover, there were 6 of them. 6 true immortal experts lived there. Chapter 1493. In the northwest corner of the continuous mountain range, 6 streams of true immortal chi and the precepts of the immortal path tumbled. They seemed to be in an intense collision. Wave after wave of destructive power was set off in that location. Lin Tianyi and the others were shocked. Come, let's go. Lin Tiandao. The 1,000 illusion orchid was in that location. He called out to the Wuxing Crocodile and the Little Taichu, and they headed directly toward that location. The man and the 2 beasts were very fast. After that, they soon arrived at the place where the divine light pillar had shot up. Boom! Intense divine power collided in front of them. 6 shadows crisscrossed. True immortal chi and the precepts of the immortal path tumbled. As far as the eye could see, there were 6 figures fighting in front of them. Each of them had extremely strong auras intertwining around their bodies. 5 of them were old men, while the other one was shrouded in a thick and blazing gray demonic light. It was obvious that it was an extremely powerful, ferocious beast. However, because the demonic light intertwining around its body was too strong, it was difficult to see what was inside the demonic light. Get lost! A furious roar came from the demonic light, shattering the vast void. The demonic power was terrifying. The demonic light was blazing. It was impossible to see what was inside the demonic light. All that could be seen was a pair of cold eyes filled with killing intent. You want to stop all of us? Is that possible? Get out of the way. If you don't retreat, you'll die. The 5 elders' voices were cold. Their attacks were swift and fierce. Shocking divine light intertwined around their bodies. The entire space was shrouded in murderous divine might. The 5 old men were all at the early stage of the true immortal realm, and all of their attacks were directed at the powerful beast shrouded in blazing demonic light. Roar! The beast roared. Its demonic power filled the sky. It fought against the 5 elders on its own, unleashing extremely powerful true immortal light beams. Behind it was a strange piece of land. The soil was of 3 different colors. It was about 70 to 80 feet in radius. It was filled with all kinds of heavenly treasures. All of them had astonishing spiritual power. It was as if they were all made of spiritual power. At the very center of these heavenly treasures, at the very center of this land, there was a stalk of orchid. It was pure white, and it was still in its bud state. It was gently trembling, and it was clearly slowly blooming. A strange fragrance filled the air. Its whiteness was purer than snow, and its fragrance suppressed all other strange smells. At this moment, it was the center of this land. That's it. That's right. The thousand illusion divine orchid. Lin Tian was moved. After arriving at this area, the whooshing crocodile, and the little Taichu were temporarily at an extremely distant location. At this time, when they saw this pure white orchid, they immediately confirmed that this white orchid was indeed the thousand illusion god orchid. It was exactly the same as what was recorded in the ancient books. Moreover, that astonishing strange fragrance could not be faked. Just by smelling this fragrance from afar, he had a feeling that his cultivation was about to rise and break through again. Absolutely, there won't be any mistakes. Whooshing crocodile's eyes lit up as it stared at the pure white orchid, almost drooling. Even little Taichu's eyes were flickering. Brat, do you really have a way to fight against a true immortal now? If you do, just rush over and snatch it. Whooshing crocodile asked Lin Tiandao. As it spoke, its gaze was still fixed on the divine orchid, as if it wanted to swallow it whole. Although it's a little difficult, it's still possible. Lin Tian's eyes flickered as he looked at the divine orchid in front of him. However, there's no rush for now. Let's wait for them to fight and exhaust their strength first before we make a move. Moreover, that thousand illusion god orchid hasn't fully matured yet, so it can't move. Now is not the best time to make a move. Whooshing crocodile suddenly understood. Yes, that makes sense. It looked ahead. Let's wait for them to exhaust their strength first. Then, before the thousand illusion god orchid fully matures, we'll make a move. Once it matures, we'll immediately snatch it and leave. Lin Tian nodded and stared at the land in front of him, where the thousand illusion god orchid grew. At the same time, many other cultivators came to this place. They were all looking at the land and the thousand illusion god orchid in the center of the land. Their eyes were shining. However, the cultivators quickly turned their attention to the other heavenly materials and earthly treasures on the ground. They knew that with several true immortals around, the thousand illusion sacred orchid would definitely not belong to ordinary people. Thus, they turned their attention to the other heavenly materials and earthly treasures on the ground. Although these heavenly materials and earthly treasures were far inferior to the thousand illusion sacred orchid, they were still extremely valuable. However, at this time, no cultivator dared to move to collect the heavenly treasures. After all, 6 true immortals were fighting in that area, and there was an astonishing amount of destructive divine energy intertwining in that space. At this time, no ordinary person dared to rush over to collect the heavenly treasures. The slightest bit of carelessness would lead to a tragic end. Boom! Divine light rolled, true immortal chi rolled, and the space shook continuously. Up ahead, the 5 true immortal-level human elders were attacking the powerful ferocious beast while staring at the white orchid. Their eyes were intertwined with bright light, and the desire and greed in their eyes could not be concealed at all. Scram! The ferocious beast's body was covered in an extremely powerful demonic light, protecting the thousand illusion god orchid behind it. Its eyes were filled with murderous intent. The surging demonic power suppressed all directions and attacked the 5 old men. Is that the thousand illusion god orchid's guardian beast? In the distance, Whooshing crocodile looked at the powerful ferocious beast shrouded in a blazing demonic light. Its eyes trembled slightly. Lin Tian looked and said, "Seems like it. What kind of ferocious beast is that? What is its true form? Kid, can you see it?" Whooshing crocodile asked Lin Tiandao. It was now at the middle stage of the eternal realm, and its cultivation was very strong. Its divine sense was also very amazing, but at this time, it could not see through the blazing demonic light shrouding the ferocious beast's body. It could not see what the ferocious beast was behind the demonic light. Lin Tian's eyes flashed as he looked at the powerful, ferocious beast. After a while, he shook his head and said, "I can't see through it." Next to him, little Taichu called out in a childish voice, as if to express that it could not see clearly. That demonic light is intertwined with the pure, immortal Tao law. People below the true, immortal realm should not be able to see through that demonic light. Lin Tian said. Whooshing Crocodile nodded and said, "That should be the case." With that, it looked at the other 5 human old men, and then narrowed its eyes slightly. Among these 5 people, the purple-robed old man, the blue-robed old man, and the golden-robed old man seem to be true immortals of the Manwei dynasty. They have a similar aura to the previous 9 Manwei dynasty elders. Yes, Lin Tian nodded. He had already seen through it. Among the 5 true, immortal old men, 3 of them were from the Manwei dynasty. They were wearing purple robes, blue robes, and golden robes respectively, and their blood qi was very strong. As for the other 2, one had brown hair, and the other wore black armor. They seemed to be 2 true immortals who were rogue cultivators. The 5 Elements Crocodile looked ahead and said, "It seems that the ferocious beast's strength is slightly stronger. It is stronger than the other 5, but not by much. It is also at the early stage of the true immortal realm." Lin Tian Dao. Boom! In front of them, divine power surged. The true immortal aura and the immortal Tao law were vast and mighty. The void was crushed again and again. The ferocious beast shrouded in blazing demonic light was indeed very powerful, more powerful than the other 5 old men. However, at this time it was not fighting one-on-one, but 1 against 5. Therefore, under the joint attack of the 5 old men, it was very embarrassed for a moment. It was beaten back by the 5 old men again and again, and a little bit of blood spilled out. However, its eyes were very fierce and full of killing intent. It did not retreat at all, and did not let anyone get close to the divine orchid. You want to swallow this divine orchid alone? Is that possible? You can't stop the 5 of us. In the end, only one of you will die. The 5 old men's expressions were cold, and they did not show any mercy in their attacks. They attacked the ferocious beast fiercely. "Get lost!" The ferocious beast roared, and its eyes were full of killing intent. Rays of terrifying demonic light kept shooting out. Humph! The 5 old men snorted and attacked even more fiercely. For a moment, the 5 people and the ferocious beast fought together. The surging divine power and demonic light was terrifying, as if it could destroy everything. Pong! The ferocious beast was struck flying. Large amounts of blood fell, and its aura weakened quite a bit. Facing 5 true immortal realm experts alone, even though it was powerful, it really wasn't their opponent, and it suffered serious injuries. However, it still did not retreat, guarding the 1,000 illusion divine orchid behind it, not allowing the 5 people to get close to the divine orchid. It released an angry roar. Demonic light surged, true immortal aura and immortal Tao law roiling, simultaneously attacking the 5 old men. The 5 old men's eyes were cold, and they all snorted coldly. Killing intent that filled the sky descended. The 5 people and the ferocious beast fought fiercely. Divine radiance and demonic light surged, and from time to time, blood would splash out. That ferocious beast was continuously injured. In the blink of an eye, an entire hour passed. With another pung sound, that ferocious beast was blasted flying, and it rolled at the edge of the divine orchid. Its body was still surrounded by demonic radiance that was difficult to see through, but its aura had weakened too much. Wang! Dazzling divine light interweaved. The 1,000 illusion divine orchid released the most shocking radiance. The flower buds trembled and then completely bloomed. Pure white petals, holy and noble. A shocking, strange fragrance spread in all directions. In an instant, it became the most dazzling existence in this place. The divine orchid has matured, someone exclaimed. On that piece of land, the 5 old men's eyes were filled with excitement. They all activated their strongest aura and pounced toward the Thousand Illusion Divine Orchid. The Thousand Illusion Divine Orchid had truly matured. They had to get it immediately. During this process, the three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty formed a group, and the two itinerant true immortals formed their own camps. At this time, the three parties began to be wary of each other. Previously, to get the Thousand Illusion Divine Orchid, they had to deal with that powerful ferocious beast first. Therefore, the three parties attacked the ferocious beast at the same time. However, now that the Divine Orchid had matured, they had become true competitors. Naturally, they had to be wary of each other. At the same time, far away, Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu stared at the Divine Orchid with bright eyes. "Kid, it's time. If you have any special techniques, use them quickly and rush over to get it." Chapter 1494. The Thousand Illusion Orchid had matured, and its fragrance filled the air. Everyone was excited. Even though many of the cultivators had no intention of snatching it, their eyes were filled with excitement. The value of the Thousand Illusion Orchid was truly shocking. Anyone below the Golden Immortal realm would be able to raise their cultivation by at least one realm after refining it. Whoosh! 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 The sound of something breaking through the air was ear-piercing. The three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the two rogue true immortals madly rushed toward the Divine Orchid. In that place, the Thousand Illusion Divine Orchid had finished blooming. Strands of light interweaved, resplendent and gentle. The surroundings were filled with strange phenomena. There were immortal plants, strange flowers, divine herbs, and even ancient trees that had never been seen or heard of before. They were completely formed from the interweaving of gentle light produced by the Divine Orchid, directly drawing out an absolutely beautiful scenery in this place. Poetic, picturesque, so beautiful. A female cultivator could not help but murmur. She was attracted by the blooming Divine Orchid, and her eyes were filled with splendor. The three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the two rogue true immortals were even more excited. At this time, they all sped up, rushing toward the Thousand Illusion Orchid like lightning. Lin Tian stepped forward. At this time, he also moved. His eyes were intertwined with bright light as he strode toward the Thousand Illusion Orchid. Roar! A roar mixed with joy, excitement, and anger rang out from the Divine Orchid. The ferocious beast that was shrouded in blazing demonic light roared. It had been severely injured under the joint attack of the five true immortals of the Manwë dynasty, but at this time, a vast and terrifying pressure suddenly rushed out from its body. It was even more terrifying than before. It was like a murderous demon from hell. The terrifying demonic aura directly shattered the space around it. Lin Tianyi was shocked. He immediately stopped and retreated at an extremely fast speed. Moreover, he had taken out the Transcendence Divine Pill that could increase his battle strength by 10 times. He did not take it for the time being. Burning its life force? He was shocked. At this time, the ferocious beast's aura suddenly became too terrifying. Its life force became chaotic. Clearly, he was burning his life essence to forcibly increase his combat strength. The three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the two true immortals who were unaffiliated also paled. They naturally sensed the terrifying aura of this savage beast and saw that it was burning its life essence to forcibly increase its strength. It was much stronger than when it was at its peak, and their hearts trembled. However, at this time, they were already in front of Shenlong. None of them were willing to retreat. Each of them supported a powerful divine art and secret technique as they pressed toward Shenlong. Scram! The ferocious beast roared, and the demonic light around its body blazed brightly. After burning its source energy, its combat power was extremely tyrannical. Together with its powerful sound attack divine ability, strands of killing power blasted towards the approaching three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the two rogue true immortals. Immediately, the three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the two itinerant true immortals were sent flying, coughing up blood. After burning their source energy, the vicious beast's battle prowess would be terrifyingly powerful for a short period of time. A single strike sent 5 true immortals flying. Many cultivators were shocked. Lin Tian was also shocked. At this time, the vicious beast was indeed a little terrifying. He didn't make a move for now. Wong! The 1,000 illusion divine orchid was born on the 3-colored spiritual soil. At this time, it had completely bloomed. As time passed, more and more strange phenomena appeared around it. All kinds of strange flowers and divine trees were formed by the light, forming a beautiful picture. The vicious beast was shrouded in blazing demonic light. Only its demonic eyes could be seen. At this time, it was looking at the 1,000 illusion divine orchid with joy and excitement in its eyes. It looked at this divine orchid as if it was looking at its everything. This kind of gaze caused Lin Tian to be moved. He actually did not see any trace of greed or desire in this pair of demonic eyes. Suddenly, a very strange feeling rose up in his heart. This vicious beast did not seem to want to take the divine orchid for itself. Roar! The deafening roar resounded in all directions. At this time, the vicious beast shrouded in blazing demonic light didn't attack the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 rogue true immortals who had been sent flying by it. It carefully used its demonic light to dig out the 1,000 illusion divine orchid along with a portion of the 3-colored spiritual soil at its roots. Then, it directly soared into the air and rushed into the distance. Its speed was very shocking. In a flash, it had traveled tens of thousands of feet. It took the 1,000 illusion divine orchid and left. The 1,000 illusion divine orchid has already matured. Why didn't it leave with it at this time? Why did it continue to stay here and wait for others to take it? This is indeed. A cultivator's voice sounded. After it, with a roar, the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty soared into the air and rushed toward the vicious beast shrouded in blazing demonic light at an extremely fast speed. In a flash, they were already far away. At the same time, 2 other true immortals broke through the air. The 2 rogue true immortals also gave chase. Kid, go after it! The whooshing crocodile called out to Lin Tiandao. Lin Tiandao retreated to the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu. Then, he wrapped the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu in golden divine light and soared into the air to chase after the vicious beast. In order to keep up with the speed of the true immortals, he directly took a divine elixir of ascension. Immediately, his strength in all aspects suddenly increased by 10 times. His speed suddenly increased by 10 times. Like a bolt of lightning, he flashed through the air and caused the void to collapse. The nearby cultivators were all shocked. Who is that? No one below the true immortal realm can move so fast. Other than the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 rogue true immortals, there are other true immortals here? Have they been watching in the dark? Waiting for an opportunity to strike? I can't see clearly. That golden divine light is too dazzling. Many cultivators were shocked. However, in the next moment, the shock in their eyes disappeared. Their gazes fell on the land where the 1,000 illusion orchid grew. At this time, the 1,000 illusion orchid was taken away by the vicious beast. The other true immortals all chased after it. Now they could go and pick the other treasures growing on the special spiritual land. In the blink of an eye, whooshing sounds could be heard as all of the cultivators began to move toward the spirit land. At this time, Lin Tiandao was already far away from the rolling mountain range. After taking the divine elixir of ascension, his speed was very fast. He took the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu and followed the Manwei dynasty's true immortals. At this time, after taking the divine elixir of ascension, his speed was very fast. Although he was still not as fast as the true immortals, the gap was not very big. He could catch up with the true immortals in front of him and not be completely shaken off. Moreover, while chasing, he deliberately suppressed the whooshing crocodiles and the little Taichu's aura so that the Manwei dynasty's true immortals in front of him would not notice. Boom! 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 In front of them, Divine energy rolled, and the true immortal's aura and the immortal Tao surged. The three Manwei dynasty's true immortals and the two rogue true immortals caught up with the vicious beast. At this time, they all attacked the vicious beast with all kinds of killing lights. At this time, the mature thousand illusion orchid in the vicious beast's hands was naturally the target of their attacks. The vicious beast's body was intertwined with thick and scorching demonic light. It burned its own life essence and released a vast and mighty aura to meet the killing lights of the five true immortals. At the same time, its speed was still very fast, and it rushed in a fixed direction. Burning its life essence, the vicious beast's aura at this time was very shocking. However, as time passed, and as it faced the five true immortals together, it was still at a disadvantage and was constantly injured. Droplets of blood splattered across the void. Roar! It roared and no longer counterattacked. Its speed skyrocketed, as if it had concentrated all its strength into speed, and it rushed in a fixed direction like a flash of lightning. Moreover, the thousand illusion orchid was firmly protected in front of it by its majestic, demonic power. As it moved, as it brought the thousand illusion orchid with it, the surrounding strange phenomena moved with it. Ancient trees, immortal grass, and divine flowers intertwined and circled around the divine orchid. It was a magnificent sight. You want to take away the thousand illusion orchid alone? Dream on? Shouted a true immortal from the Manwei dynasty. He and the other four true immortals attacked together, using all kinds of supernatural powers and secret techniques. In the blink of an eye, more killing lights fell on the vicious beast in front of them. Blood splattered all over the void. However, the vicious beast did not stop. It used its demonic power after burning its life essence to protect the thousand illusion orchid, and its speed increased again. Behind it, the whooshing crocodile was wrapped in a divine light by Lin Tian. Looking at this scene, he was shocked and puzzled. Although Lord Crocodile wants that divine orchid and doesn't want it to fall into the hands of others, but at this time, the divine orchid has matured and is already in its hands. Why didn't it swallow it directly? Even if someone disturbed it at this time, and it couldn't perfectly refine the divine orchid after swallowing it, it would be enough to raise its cultivation by at least 2 small levels. The moment it swallowed it, its combat strength would skyrocket, and it could easily kill the 3 true immortals from the Manwei dynasty and the 2 itinerant true immortals. But now, it's only protecting the thousand illusion orchid while passively enduring the attacks of those true immortals. Why did it do this? Did it want to completely get rid of those people and then perfectly refine the thousand illusion orchid to step into the golden immortal level? The whooshing crocodile was very puzzled. Lin Tian did not understand either, after which he recalled the ferocious beast's eyes from before. There was not a single trace of greed or desire for the thousand illusion divine orchid. Could it be that the other party really did not want to take the thousand illusion divine orchid for itself? But if it didn't want to take it for itself, why did it risk its life for it? Yeah, little Tai Chu's childish voice rang out beside him. He suddenly tugged on his hair and extended a small paw, pointing in the direction that the ferocious beast shrouded in blazing demonic light was charging towards. Lin Tian looked in the direction little Tai Chu pointed. After a pause, his expression changed slightly. Chapter 1495. Lin Tian's expression changed. The ferocious beast shrouded in a blazing demonic aura was actually rushing towards the witch village. The whooshing crocodile saw Lin Tian's expression and followed Lin Tian's gaze towards the direction of the ferocious beast shrouded in a blazing demonic aura. Suddenly, its expression changed as it also recognized the direction of the witch village. Could it be that it's rushing towards that small village? Or is it fleeing in the same direction as the village? It was bewildered. Lin Tian frowned and said uncertainly, "Follow and watch." He concealed the whooshing crocodiles, and the little Tai Chu's aura and chased after the Manwei dynasty's true immortals. Boom! 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 In front of them, the 3 true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the 2 rogue true immortals attacked fiercely. All kinds of divine and immortal aura blasted out at the same time, shattering the void and landing on the ferocious beast shrouded in a blazing demonic aura. Blood spilled out one after another. The ferocious beast shrouded in a blazing demonic aura was constantly weakening, but it kept rushing forward. Part of its strength was transformed into speed as it rushed forward. Part of its strength was used to protect the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid, worried that it would be damaged. Only a very small part of its strength was used to defend against the attacks of the 5 true immortals. Don't even think about leaving with the sacred orchid. Hand it over. If you don't hand it over, only death awaits you. The voices of the true immortals of the Manwë dynasty were bone-chilling. The ferocious beast shrouded in a blazing demonic aura just kept rushing forward, enduring the attacks of the 5 true immortals. It protected the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid very well, but its injuries were getting worse and worse, and its aura was getting weaker and weaker. Cracking sounds were constantly heard as the blazing demonic aura around its body shattered, gradually revealing its body. It was originally snow white with soft and shiny fur, but now it was stained with blood. Many parts of its body were badly mutilated. It was a wolf, a white wolf. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were at the back of the pack. When they saw the true form of the vicious beast, they were all shocked. Wolf! Snow Wolf! Lin Tianwei paled slightly. At the same time, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu were also shocked. Not long ago, they followed a special zither sound and found the witch village. There used to be a very respectable witch living there. They heard from an old man in the village that the witch was gentle and kind. She had done countless favors for the village. Back then, she had saved a baby snow wolf. After the witch died, her tombstone was erected by the baby snow wolf. It's the snow wolf that the witch helped back then. The snow wolf who built tombs for the witches. Wuxing Crocodile couldn't remain calm. Lin Tian was the same. This snow wolf had been charging in the direction of the village. Could it be that it wasn't running in the same direction, but had been charging in that direction all along? Could it be the snow wolf that the witch saved? Don't even think about leaving. Cold voices reverberated. The 5 perfected immortals from the Manwë dynasty attacked mercilessly. Beams of killing light shot out continuously. These beams of killing light contained the laws of the immortal Tao and were extremely sharp. Almost all of them landed on the snow wolf in front of them. More blood splashed out from the snow wolf's body. Its aura was at its weakest. Its body was stained with blood. Bones could be seen in many places, and its internal organs could be faintly seen. However, the snow wolf didn't stop at all. It kept charging forward, using its powerful demonic power to protect the illusion orchid beside it. At this time, a small village appeared in front of them. On one side of the village, there was a locust tree forest with green leaves. Roar! The snow wolf roared. Its voice was already very weak, but it was mixed with an indescribable emotion. There was excitement and sadness. With a whoosh, its speed suddenly increased by a lot. It broke through a large area of the void and rushed into the locust tree forest in an instant. Behind them, Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were finally completely moved. They had powerful cultivation bases and naturally had amazing eyesight. At this time, they saw that the snow wolf had rushed to the witch's tomb in the locust tree forest. It's him. That's Snow Wolf. It's really him. Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. Lin Tian and Little Taichu's eyes were also shining. At this moment, there was no doubt that this snow wolf was the snow wolf that the witch had saved back then. It was the snow wolf that had erected the monument for the witch's tomb. Otherwise, why would it rush to the witch's tomb? In front, the 3 true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals naturally saw the snow wolf rush to the witch's tomb in the locust tree forest. Their eyes were cold, and divine energy surged around their bodies. Immortal Tao laws intertwined as they all rushed toward the locust tree forest. At this time, the 3 true immortals of the Manwë dynasty formed a group and the two independent true immortals formed their own camp. The three sides once again began to guard against each other. This was because they discovered that the snow wolf had stopped moving in the locust tree forest. It didn't seem like it would run away again. Moreover, its aura had weakened to the lowest point and was no longer a threat to any of them. Now, the three sides wanted to seize the illusion orchid, so only the three of them could threaten each other. Therefore, they naturally began to guard against each other. They were extremely fast. Whoosh! 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 They were not far from the locust tree forest in the blink of an eye. Their gazes were all fixed on the illusion orchid. Clang! At this moment, the ear-piercing sound of a sword rang through the sky. Behind them, Lin Tian decisively made his move. He slashed out one of the great divine powers of the Heaven Sword Manual with tenfold combat strength. 5 rays of sword light were so powerful that it seemed as if it could shatter the stars. At this moment, he didn't attack to seize the illusion orchid. In fact, before he knew about the true form of the snow wolf, he had already given up on the idea of seizing the illusion orchid when he saw that the snow wolf had risked his life to protect the illusion orchid. However, there was no greed or desire for the illusion orchid in his eyes. He was just very puzzled by the snow wolf's actions. Now that he saw the true form of the snow wolf, he guessed that it was the snow wolf that the witch had saved. He was the snow wolf that built the tomb for the witch who had passed away. Therefore, it was even more impossible for him to fight for the illusion orchid. After all, he, the whooshing crocodile, and the little Taichu had all benefited greatly from the music of the witch. Moreover, that which was very worthy of respect. Now, the snow wolf that the witch had saved, the snow wolf that built the tomb for the witch, had brought the illusion orchid to the witch's tomb. How could he still have any thoughts of seizing it? At this moment, his purpose was very simple. He only wanted to prevent the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals from seizing the illusion orchid. He could guess that there must be a special reason why the snow wolf had brought the illusion orchid all the way to the witch's tomb. The sound of the sword clanging was extremely fast. In an instant, it fell in front of the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals. The sharp sword force shattered a large area of space, causing the expressions of the 5 true immortals, who were focused on the 1,000 illusion orchid, to change. They had never thought that someone would send 5 streaks of light at them from behind. Moreover, every single streak of light was extremely powerful and extremely fast. They had no time to dodge or block at all, so they were struck in the blink of an eye. Who is it? The 5 true immortals were sent flying at the same time. In the process, one of them let out a roar and rolled for thousands of feet. Someone had hidden behind them and attacked them at the same time. Lin Tian saw the 5 true immortals being sent flying, but he did not care. He led the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu into the center of the locust tree forest with one step. In the locust tree forest, each locust tree was neither tall nor thick. The leaves were green and the flowers were white. The snow wolf was covered in blood. In many places, his bones could be seen. However, he was protecting the illusion orchid with his demon power. At this moment, he was lying in front of the witch's tomb. Blood was dripping from his body and mouth. He did not have the strength to stand up. The demon power protecting the illusion orchid dispersed. With the last of his demon power, he placed the orchid in front of the tombstone. "If the flower has bloomed, I brought it," he said weakly. There was not much life in his demon eyes. Instead, they were filled with satisfaction and sadness. These 2 complicated emotions intertwined. The illusion orchid was no longer protected by demon power. For a moment, the sky was filled with strange phenomena. There were even more strange phenomena than before. Immortal plants, divine herbs, ancient trees, and divine flowers intertwined with each other. They were all condensed from divine light and formed a picturesque scene. They surrounded the witch's tomb in the center of the locust tree forest and then completely covered the entire locust tree forest. Lin Tian led the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu into the locust tree forest. Seeing the snow wolf's heavily injured and dying appearance and hearing the snow wolf's weak voice, seeing the illusion orchid placed in front of the witch's tomb by the snow wolf, and seeing the strange phenomena in the sky, their eyes flashed. Before this, they had already guessed that this was the snow wolf that the witch had saved. It was the snow wolf that built the witch's tomb. However, when they saw the scene in front of them, they could not help but be moved. Lin Tian walked toward the snow wolf. The snow wolf was covered in blood. Naturally, it could sense that Lin Tian was approaching. It thought that Lin Tian was here to snatch the illusion orchid. It wanted to get up and protect the illusion orchid in front of the witch's tomb. However, it was powerless. Its injuries were too serious. At this moment, it could not even move. Its life force was at its lowest point and was fading away quickly. Lin Tian led the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu to the snow wolf. When the snow wolf saw Lin Tian and the others approaching, its eyes were filled with anger and unwillingness. Facing this gaze, Lin Tian's body suddenly trembled. In the other party's demonic eyes, which had lost much of its luster, he suddenly saw a blurry image. In a continuous mountain range, on a tricolored spiritual soil, a woman sat in front of a seedling in the center of the tricolored spiritual soil. There was a small snow wolf at her feet. The snow wolf had lost a large amount of hair. It seemed that it had been seriously injured before. The injury had been healed, but the hair that had fallen off would not grow back in a short period of time. The illusion orchid blooms at least 100,000 years ago. When it blooms, it is very beautiful and beautiful. The woman looked at the seedling in the center. Her eyes were gentle, and there was a trace of regret. It's a pity that I won't be able to see the scenery when it blooms. The image of the snow wolf covered in blood disappeared in a flash in the demonic eyes. It seemed to be born from some kind of strong obsession. Lin Tian's eyes could not help but twitch when he saw this. He looked at the snow wolf covered in blood. For a moment, he was speechless. He was deeply touched by something. The woman in the image was the witch who had saved the snow wolf. She had found the seedling of the illusion orchid countless years ago and sighed with emotion. Chapter 1496. He had guarded the 1,000 illusion divine orchid for tens of thousands of years. He had grown from a young snow wolf to a true immortal, not for himself, but because the witch who had saved him had said, "I want to see the scenery when the 1,000 illusion divine orchid bloomed." For this, he had guarded the 1,000 illusion divine orchid for tens of thousands of years, waiting for it to mature and bloom. For this, even if he had to burn his life source and give up his life, he had to bring the mature 1,000 illusion divine orchid to the witch's tomb. Lin Tian felt as if something had slammed into his chest. For the sake of a single sigh, he had silently persevered for tens of thousands of years. Even though he had brought the 1,000 illusion divine orchid here, in reality, the witch had already passed away and was unable to see it. This snow wolf had still done so. He had burned his own essence and risked his own life to do so. He looked at the blood-soaked snow wolf. How heavy were his emotions? How precious were they? On the side, whooshing crocodile and little Taichu were very close. They had also seen the scene of the witch sighing in front of the 1,000 illusion divine orchid from the snow wolf's eyes. At this time, like Lin Tianyi, their eyes couldn't help but flicker fiercely. Whooshing crocodile looked at the snow wolf. Like Lin Tianyi, it was momentarily speechless. Like Lin Tianyi, it and little Taichu were deeply moved by what the snow wolf had done. Buzz! Radiance intertwined, and the 1,000 illusion divine orchid trembled. The sky was full of strange phenomena. All kinds of strange divine herbs, immortal trees, and strange flowers intertwined. More and more appeared. The witch's tomb was surrounded by countless plants and strange flowers. Even the scala-tree forest was covered by all kinds of brilliance. Lin Tian looked at this scene. As a man, he didn't have the ability to appreciate flowers and plants. He wouldn't think that a sea of flowers was very beautiful. But at this moment, looking at the blood-soaked snow wolf lying in front of the witch's tomb and feeling his emotions, even though he didn't know how to appreciate things, he couldn't help but feel that this scene in front of him was the most beautiful scenery in the world. What other scenery could be compared to this? He paused, then walked forward. He really came to the front of the snow wolf. He squatted down, reached out his left hand, and placed it on the blood-soaked snow wolf's body. He activated the sun's nirvana art, multiplied the power of his 10 times of battle power. Snow wolf, snow wolf wolf, snow wolf. But in the next moment, his extended left hand trembled slightly. He found that the snow wolf's current state was very bad. More than half of his life force had been burned, and it was completely dim. Even if he used the sun's nirvana art with 10 times of battle power, it was impossible to heal the snow wolf's injuries. Even if a golden immortal expert acted, he still wouldn't be able to heal the snow wolf. He looked at the blood-soaked snow wolf, then shifted his gaze to the witch's tomb in front of him. He looked at the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. He paused, then said, "After guarding it for so many years, I've brought it here. The witch has seen the scene of the flower blooming. Now refine it, otherwise you will die." The snow wolf had burned his life force and charged all the way here under the cruel attacks of 5 true immortal experts. At this time, his injuries were too severe. His life force was dim, and his life force was fading away. Ordinary methods couldn't save the snow wolf's life. Only the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid in front of him could heal the snow wolf. The snow wolf's life force was weakening. Seeing Lin Tion's actions and hearing Lin Tion's words, his eyes flashed. Originally, he thought that Lin Tion was going to snatch the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid. When he saw Lin Tion coming over, he was secretly filled with anger and unwillingness. But he didn't expect that Lin Tion would help him heal his injuries at this time, and let him refine the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid to heal his injuries. And most importantly, from Lin Tion's words, he could tell that Lin Tion seemed to know something about the witches. For a moment, the anger and unwillingness in his eyes towards Lin Tion disappeared. Blood dripped from his mouth. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't. His life force was getting weaker and weaker, like a candle in the wind, which could be extinguished at any time. Refine it, otherwise you will really die. After the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid matures, if it isn't refined within 2 hours, it will wither and turn into ashes. Lin Tion looked at the snow wolf and said, "You've brought the scene of the blooming flowers here. The most beautiful sea of flowers surrounding her resting place is really enough." As he spoke, he reached out to take the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid and help Snow Wolf refine it. Because at this time, Snow Wolf didn't even have the ability to refine the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid. He couldn't move at all. However, the Snow Wolf, who was originally unable to move, seemed to have regained consciousness at this time. It was unknown where the strength came from, but it suddenly stretched out its wolf claws and pressed down the hand that was reaching for the 1,000 illusion divine orchid. Then his eyes fell on the witch's tombstone in front of him. In his dim, demonic eyes, there was no fear of death, nor any reluctance to leave this world. Lin Tion opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. At this time, in the eyes of the Snow Wolf, there was only a beautiful scene that wanted the 1,000 illusion divine orchid to produce a sea of flowers. He could understand this kind of light that had been presented in front of the witch's tomb for a long time. There's no need to do this. That witch definitely doesn't want you to die like this. He tried to persuade him. However, the light in Snow Wolf's eyes didn't change at all. He still looked at the witch's tomb in front of him without blinking. There was no fear of impending death in his eyes, only satisfaction and sadness. He was satisfied because he brought the blooming 1,000 illusion sacred orchid to the witch's tomb. He was sad because the witch who saved him had passed away. Lin Tion looked at him. His chest felt a little stuffy. He was deeply touched again. The look in Snow Wolf's eyes was as if his life was complete because he brought the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid here. He wanted to forcefully help Snow Wolf refine the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid, but seeing the way Snow Wolf was looking at the witch's tomb and the wolf claws pressing down on his hand that was about to take the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid, he couldn't do anything. Snow Wolf had guarded the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid for hundreds of thousands of years. He grew up from a young age to the true immortal realm just to wait for the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid to bloom. Then, he would present the scene of the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid in front of the witch who saved him. This kind of mood and desire had accompanied him for hundreds of thousands of years. So, how could he interfere with him now? Boom! Suddenly, powerful divine energy surged. A violent aura rushed in from outside the pagoda tree forest, turning into a storm that swept over everything. Lin Tian immediately sensed the power of this storm. He raised his hand and activated the seal of the four symbols. 6 layers of the Tao diagram of the four symbols appeared in a row, protecting himself, the severely injured snow wolf, the whooshing crocodile, the little taichu, and the witch's tomb in front of them. He completely blocked the storm from outside the pagoda tree forest. However, the pagoda trees around them were all shattered. The quiet pagoda tree forest was reduced to a pile of rubble. The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals who had been sent flying by Lin Tian all rushed back. One of them destroyed the pagoda tree forest. The 5 of them walked towards the center of the pagoda tree forest. Then, the 5 of them saw the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. Their eyes flashed. At the same time, the 5 of them saw the severely injured snow wolf, Lin Tian, the whooshing crocodile, and the little taichu. It's you! The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty stared at Lin Tian. A cold light flashed in their eyes, and they didn't hide their killing intent at all. Not long ago, the person who killed Yin Zhongwang of the Manwei dynasty and took away all the starstones was here. You were the one who attacked us just now. One of them stared at Lin Tian, his voice cold. At this moment, not only did the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty stare at Lin Tian with cold eyes, but the other 2 independent true immortals also stared at him with cold eyes. At this moment, they all sensed that the aura around Lin Tian's body was exactly the same as the aura of the sword light that had struck them before. But soon, the 5 of them once again looked at the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. At this time, the orchid was the most important thing. Who are you people? Suddenly, an angry voice rang out. The destruction of the pagoda tree forest caused quite a commotion. The villagers in the nearby village were naturally alarmed. At this time, many villagers rushed out of the village. They were furious when they saw the destruction of the locust tree forest. The most important person in the history of their village was buried in the locust tree forest. It was the most important place in their village, but now it had been destroyed. All the locust trees had been destroyed. At the same time, the strange phenomenon created by the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid fell into the eyes of the villagers. Everyone was shocked by this scene. After all, these villagers were ordinary people. When had they ever seen such a strange phenomenon in the sky? However, this was only for a moment. In the next moment, the villagers' gazes fell on the pagoda tree forest again, and they were furious. Obviously, compared to the strange phenomenon created by the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid, these ordinary villagers were more concerned about the pagoda tree forest because it was the resting place of the witch. Among these people was the old man who had explained some things about the witch to Lin Tian. He recognized Lin Tian when he saw him. Moreover, because Lin Tian had entered the village before, some of the villagers had seen him before. Naturally, they recognized Lin Tian at this time. Instantly, many people's eyes fell on Lin Tian. Young man, what's going on? What's going on? Who did this? Who destroyed this place? You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.